You're listening to Hair of the Dogcast, a proud part of the Greenlit Podcast Network. Check out Hair of the Dogcast and all of Greenlit shows at greenlitpodcast.com.
And it's another beautiful day in the podcast neighborhood. Welcome to Hair of the Dogcast, episode 88. The one where we're going to talk about Resident Evil, the entire franchise, later.
And we're wild. And we're wild.
My original title was Gamestop Won't Stop, but that's a little bit of foreshadowing of what we're going to be talking about a little bit later. My name is Tom. Hi, everybody. Whoa. Wow.
Shit, a little bit of pepper behind that shit.
All right.
You're going to faint if you go with that
I'm
high
sorry.
again.
We just watched the intro to Wild Woody again, and now I have Wild Woody on my
Throw some
brain.
sugar in that salty stew.
Yeah. Okay. But hey, before we go on, I wanted to announce to the world that we have one less rider on the proverbial wagon, or maybe two less riders.
Two today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Brad, Dom.
Yes.
You guys have rejoined the drinking class. Congratulations.
Very excited about it.
Haven't rejoined it yet.
Okay, not yet.
He will on mic. Oh, you heard it.
So you guys took dry January, right? So Brad Ward, the raw dog, is pouring his first beer since New Year's Eve.
Yeah, so technically I had my last drink at like 1:30 a.m. January 1st, but I didn't drink last night, so it's been a full 31 days.
How excited are you right now?
And I didn't drink today because I've been so productive and losing weight. So I was going to drink a coffee beer this morning, but I had to go shovel the car out for an hour, and then I wanted to get some things done before we podcasted. So beer smells great, I can tell you.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been wanting to try this triple raspberry slush from Eagle Park for the past 2.5 weeks now, so I'm happy.
Excellent.
Also, put your penis away.
No, seriously. And okay, so we got Brad here. We've established this fact. He is enamored with his beer right now. So we'll move on to Dom.
Yep.
Dom's back on the Dogcast, the Domcast,
Yeah.
the Dominator.
Yeah. I'm excited that I'm not hanging out with you guys and just drinking water.
Yeah, we went out the other night.
Yeah.
And you know what? I didn't even know you were drinking just water. That's how much I pay attention to
That's how
people.
drunk you were.
Yeah.
Honestly, it got to that point.
Just slamming those O'Douls.
All right. Goodbye, sobriety.
All right,
See you
we're
later.
back.
Welcome, boys. Welcome.
That's how you do it on this podcast about beer and video games and beer.
Tart and fruity. Speaking of tart and fruity,
Aha, it's me, Dylan. I'm back too, and I was drinking the whole time.
Never stopped.
Never stopped. Yep, I do plan on doing a dry month. I just think it's a little gauche to do it in January, if you know what I mean.
how dare you?
No, actually, I don't.
A little gauche. I barely know what that word means.
Okay. Are you doing well otherwise?
Seasonal depression hits me really hard this time of year.
Yeah.
I've actually been drinking less too, so I mean it's
Yeah.
I don't know, moderation, I guess.
What about the absolutely wonderful news that I discovered at your house earlier? You let me try it on.
Oh, I found a jacket. What's that? That's not like.
Explain the jacket.
Oh, it's a jacket I found
from
on the
Shenmue?
road. Yeah, I showed. No, yeah.
You
It's
found
the
it on
Shenmue
the side of
jacket.
the road?
Yeah, I found it by the sidewalk. Someone must have dropped it as they were getting in their car or something.
It's a Hiroshima Carp
Yes,
badass jacket.
But
For real?
Yeah, it's really nice. I showed it to you. I think I did.
I contend that somebody committed murder in that jacket and left it because it was evidence.
Well, good. I washed it. It's
But it
fine.
looks nice.
I don't care if someone died in it.
Anyways,
you're going to get
It's like
tampering with
half of the
evidence,
shit in
too.
Goodwill.
So it's got the Hiroshima
Carp
on
on
it.
it,
I mean,
yeah.
you showed me the picture, and it does look like it's something like Ryu Suzuki would have
It's like the coolest jacket I've ever seen.
It's fucking slick. I just got to lose weight to get into it, which is actually a good motivator.
Goals?
Yeah. Now I have to lose. I estimate about 15 pounds, something like that. I got to drop a size, but that's actually good because this is probably the nicest jacket I now own. So I've really got to learn how to fit in that shit. It was kind of disheartening because when I picked it up off the road, it said XL, and then I saw that it was actually from Vietnam, and in Vietnam, XL.
My size.
Yeah. So I'm actually an XXL. It was a little disheartening, but hey, they like big guys over there, I hear.
I guess.
That's
I
not
don't know.
like phenomenal news, though.
Yeah.
It's just a nice, expensive jacket I found for free.
How much is a jacket worth? You said it was worth like $200 or something.
$200 somewhere around
That's a
there.
nice find. I don't know. I was blown away by how cool it was. I was
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
I liked it too.
Yeah.
Can't wait for you to wear it.
I'm going to wear it. It's more of a spring jacket, it seems.
Yes.
And maybe that's why someone wasn't wearing
I'd wear it around the house eating cereal.
I might do.
That's myself, though.
All right.
Maybe I've got some dates with Ring Fit. I'll keep you updated.
As you know, here the Dogcast is a podcast about jackets, beer, and video games. And we're already starting to drink the beer. And congratulations, everybody, for making it through.
Except for Tom,
Anyway.
who's got some Diet Mountain Dew with
Yep.
Call of Duty Cold War
Got to keep the
advertisements.
train on the tracks for a little bit.
Are
and
you-
Then it's gonna come off.
Are you drinking that for the Call of Duty points?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and the Doritos. I eat those too. They're really good.
And then I open a closet and just like a shitload of Doritos falls out. It does.
They're all out of the bag.
This episode is brought to you by super awesome Patreon supporters, including the following folks at the executive producer tier: Brian Ward, Mark Nino, Tyler Keller, Allison Smith, and Kate Conti. If you too would like to consider supporting what we do here at Hair of the Dogcast, would you kindly head over to patreon.com/Hair of the Dogcast and check out the copious amounts of tiers for any budget. They start at just $1 a month, and we would appreciate you long time. And if not, no worries at all, my friends, because you are welcome here regardless.
Just spread the word.
Yes. Tell your friends about us. Maybe leave a review, a positive review on your podcast app of choice.
We're technically not allowed to ask for that anymore. Have you read the terms and conditions on the Apple podcasting app?
I will never stop asking for that.
I read about that. It's crazy.
will
You can't ask for 5 stars
Drive this
anymore.
podcast into
This
the
just in,
ground.
Dylan is the only person who has read the terms and conditions.
No, I saw it on Reddit.
It's going to be a
saw it
human
in,
Sentai pad here pretty soon.
Yes.
I saw it in a subreddit for podcasting. Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know technically.
Well, write us a review. Tell your friends.
Yeah. I don't trust Reddit, so
And wink, wink. Give us whatever rating you want. Wink, wink.
that's right. Yes. This is not a solicitation to sell a franchise. You guys ever listen to the radio and you hear that shit? Where they're obviously trying to sell you a franchise, but
the
at the end of
radio-
it, like the voice comes on, like, "This is not an offer to sell a franchise."
Yeah.
It's like, come on, guys. All right. With that said,
I'm a millionaire now, guys. I have 10 stocks in GameStop.
there is so much to talk about, and
Technically, that's only about $4,000.
And I wish I had that many stocks.
I had 15 over the summer.
yeah. So that GameStop, huh? Things have been happening. It's kind of having a bit of a moment there, eh?
When you have Nancy Pelosi mentioning the words GameStop, it is very weird.
Yes, when the White House says we're monitoring the situation with GameStop. Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with the world? What is going on?
There's nothing wrong. It's everything right that should happen in a society. It's
Yep.
literally people rising up against their oppressors and making sure that people are held accountable.
We're going to talk about the GameStop thing now, but just note, disclaimer, this is not a economic fucking podcast. This is not a financial podcast. I barely know like my PIN to my ATM card. So
They're going to realize how much this isn't an economic podcast when we try and talk about the stock
absolutely.
market.
So sit back and start giggling, folks. I guess from a high level, a Reddit group, right? Made of mostly
Wall Street bets.
Wall Street bets, like non-professional, kind of everyday average retail investors, you know, the everyman.
Day traders.
Day traders, yep. They determined that the GameStop stock was undervalued and one of the most heavily shorted stocks on Wall Street by these major hedge funds.
Now, do you remember what shorting is based on what the guy in the bar told us, or should I explain it?
Only if you're in a bathtub, a bubble bath.
I was
drinking
gonna.
a Hamm's.
I was gonna do that. By the
For
way,
the sake of this explanation, just everyone imagine Dylan is in a bathtub.
Yes.
shorting is when hedge fund people, when they take money from an investor and they invest into things that they know aren't gaining money, so that if you're paying like pennies for it and you're buying a ton of it, that you have like a guaranteed growth in your investment.
They're betting on the stock to fail.
They're betting on the stock to fail because you can still make money off of the failing stock that way. Now, once other people mobilized against it, especially if you've got Reddit on your side, then you're actually able to inflate the price by pumping a shitload of money into it, making the stock seem more popular than it is. Now, these hedge fund managers don't actually have the money that they're putting into this. They are literally just taking money from people who actually have the credit and pretending like it's there because they think that it's a surefire thing. Well, one of
the
the
stock's gonna
investors,
go down.
Yes. And well, nope, didn't happen.
And then they if you were to buy for these people on Reddit that bought the stock, a short squeeze, they're getting it from these hedge fund people, as we call them.
Well, they're getting it from creditors. The hedge funds themselves are run by people that you could consider the hedge fund.
But then they're planning on when they like kind of loan it out to you that it's going to go down in stock and you're going to have to pay them the same amount back so they'll make money on it.
Right.
But instead, the stock is going way up and they have to buy these stocks back. And they're not selling, so it's just going up in value.
And they don't want to sell now, especially because they're not going to sell now because they think they're cutting their loss. But if they're not selling it, they're not making the money. So it's literally, for the most part, unless you want to lose money, it's kind of a money prison in a lot of ways.
A prison.
I'm catching this right? Do you guys have the awareness of that?
Well, I think the longer that people don't sell it, it's just going to keep going up. And everyone's going to get tempted, and they're going to be told by news media, and there's going to be spies on Reddit. They're going to be like saying, "Oh my gosh, it's failing! It's everyone sell it quick."
I printed I saved a very nice comment from comprehensive-AD7423.
Oh boy,
on
big fan,
Reddit.
Yep.
And he has been observing for a while because he says he's on it constantly because now literally this is his job. They executed what's called a ladder attack on Thursday, where they were trading large stock holdings between themselves, gradually lowering the offering each time inflates certain other things. So it's like it's trying to fool the markets into thinking that people are dipping off of it so that it scares anyone who actually invested into it to run away. A lot of news organizations, which are run by people who have direct money connections to the stock market.
Big time.
They're saying like people are ditching GameStop, they're going to silver and all this other shit. Yeah. And it's just not true. So literally they're trying to scam people into being afraid. Whereas, God, I'll tell you, at Wall Street Bets, hold on. I'm gonna tell you just how many people.
Before we get too deep down that rabbit hole, let's just keep going with a brief overview here. It just turns out that GameStop, this lovable this lovable brick and mortar company that we love to sometimes dunk on for good reasons,
Mostly, yeah.
and just throw shade at a company who last year April had a stock price of $4. It pretty much became it won the meme lottery. It just happened that this is the stock that these people chose. It doesn't really affect video games in any significant way. It's just, holy shit, it's been a while since we've had this amount of scrutiny and attention on anything game related. I mean, I couldn't open my fucking Twitter or any of my news apps without this being the top story. So, GameStop at the close of business, I believe in December, they were creeping up to be a $1 billion company. I think stocks were around maybe $17 or something like that.
Yeah, it's around there.
And a major catalyst for this, for the sudden jump, was the founder of pet company Chewy, like an online pet store.
That was my Wookiee.
His name's Ryan Cohen. He joined the board of directors in January, or earlier January, before this kind of happened. And that made the stock rise just a little bit. And I think that's when the Reddit people looked at that and they're like, okay, this guy made Chewy viable against Amazon. And this Ryan Cohen guy wants to kind of make GameSpot into an e-business rather than focusing on
adapt.
So everyone's like,
Netflix.
yes. And obviously Reggie's on the board, so it's probably all Reggie's fault.
You know the Reddit user that started this whole thing? Reggie Rules.
Reggie, hey, with a Z, yes. And this Ryan Cohen also, he coincidentally also bought a 13% stake in the company back at the end of the year for about $75 million, and he's already a billionaire now with all the goings on. But GameStop reached a high of $483 per share last week.
God.
I don't know what it's currently.
I can actually look right now. I have Robinhood
trading.
Well,
at.
and just so everyone knows, we're recording this Monday. This is coming out Thursday,
Yes.
and Lord knows what could happen in 3 days with the current climate.
However, I just read a tip that they're trying to also boost now Nokia.
And they've been doing this with other
That's
stocks
NOK.
too.
And I saw Blockbuster tweeting, "Hey guys, please help."
Right, yeah. So they said, hey, this stock looks very undervalued, at least moderately undervalued to me. Let's galvanize together. Let's get the internet community together and boost it up.
What's really shitty is the way the way they use shorts. It essentially is designed to kill a company off as fast as they can. And luckily the power went back to the Redditors, the power to the players.
Yeah.
And the people that thought they were going to make some easy money by kind of destroying this company instead lost billions of dollars. And you see billionaires crying on news media like, this isn't fair.
Yeah.
So stimulus checks, they're just buying stocks. It's like, wow, you sappy billionaires.
All right. So now it's at, $225.
Thank you. My touchscreen was going crazy.
But
I had
it's
to
going to
reset.
go back up. I saw somebody posted earlier today they lost $5 million. They're like,
crazy.
we're holding. Everyone's like, it's fine. This was going to happen. But also, the moment that I get up like $10, I'm like, oh shit, do we leave?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
I'm out of here, guys.
How
$10.
would anybody know?
Yeah.
I made 300 by investing in Nintendo early on in the pandemic when I got a little bit of that stimulus money. Mm-hmm. That's only because of the great windfall of Animal Crossing and the fact that everyone had to be in fucking doors. And so I caught it kind of early because I was playing around with this probably in February. Now, once I realized that Nintendo wasn't going to release any new games, I immediately ditched out on it. It's just you got to kind of follow the trends and patterns with all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. You might want to dip back in. I think the once the Pro starts getting released, or if there's like a lot of rumors,
If Nintendo's
rumors start
denying
flying
it.
about
Could you imagine, like, President Biden, like, so what is a GameStop? And someone's like, well, you know where you can, like, take your new games and they'll give you $5 for it? That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah. So these hedge funds, as of going online this morning, I think it's estimated that that all these hedge funds that betted against GameStop, they've lost a collective $19 billion and counting.
There's one called starts with an M.
Melvin.
Melvin. They lost about 50% of all of their shit.
One went bankrupt, and some are on the verge.
This is the problem with our country, and this is a problem with distribution of wealth. I'm not going to get into that on this because it's not a political podcast, but
Save it for the Mega Man episode.
we did talk about UBI.
Surprising amount.
So, I mean, this does have a flavor of like a David Goliath,
Yeah.
small guy getting back at the big guy, and all the wealthy people boo-hooing the fact that, they have all these people that weren't invited to their party drinking from their milkshake.
Everyone should just play the market, have some fun. Wait a second, not like that.
Yeah. I mean,
They don't like the fact that people can band together and actually give a shit about something.
Yeah.
I honestly wish I had paid attention to this subreddit earlier. I've been on Reddit for a little bit now. Man, if I would have probably invested a full $1,000 in that
Some
shit.
10-year-old kid put
Yeah.
$60 down and it now has like $6,000.
Yeah.
And now Redditors are buying like the billboard space in like New York. Someone I saw
And
was
been
paying
like
for
bumfuck Michigan.
I saw someone was paying for heart surgeries for children around the world with the money they made. Like
Yep.
they're doing
Yeah.
a lot of good things.
Yeah.
They're not just being shithead like champagne drinking douches. Although I'm sure some people are. But
I bet plenty are.
yes.
Well, see, they probably are, but for a lot of what I see from this community is strangely extremely positive. Everyone's got the right idea, and I think everyone knows who their quote unquote enemy is in this situation, and I think that is
EB Games.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. GameStop just,
Yeah.
by and large.
Yeah. Tower Records. I don't know.
Literally, and like meanwhile, GameStops are empty. No one's going in.
That's
the
a
used
great
games
point.
are still there.
There's a guy who sent every GameStop worker in his state a bag of peanuts with a $100 bill attached to it. And he drove around and he handed it out to each and every one.
Nice.
Oh, that's great.
And it's just like, enjoy your peanuts. Like, I'm like, holy shit. Like the fact that the markets, I mean, it just proves to you that all this shit's fake and that money really doesn't mean as much as they say it does, because
Welcome to the free market.
it's the shattering of the illusion. Now they can't claim that it is. Now they can't claim that it's all fair because they know it's not fair, and we just proved that it's not fair. So we can literally now like take it back into our hands, and it's going to make a lot of rich people way more upset in the future.
I mean,
because
We'll see how fast though they're going to be able to try and pass legislation, and they're going
will
to try and
try.
change everything, and they're going to get more done than you'd think.
they will try, but if you are a person campaigning in any state and you say like, if I go to Congress, the market's yours. Like you're gonna be pro corporation.
No, dude. Our government's been pro corporation for the past like 50
Yeah, but now
years.
people, so many people know what stocks are when they didn't know. I think
There's going to be big money saying abortions, and like they're going to be talking about the troops and war, and no one's going to hear anything about this stuff.
All I know is
it's sadly true.
I've learned enough this last week where I think I can watch The Big Short again and kind of know what's going on this time.
Yeah, the only thing I
need to
know
watch it
about
again.
stock market, the stock market game is everything I learned on Wolf of Wall Street.
Right. Yeah. There you go. That's all you need to know.
Quaaludes and stuff. That's all I know about the stock market.
Hey, if Margot Robbie's in it, you know you can learn a lot. That's
Did
all I
you
gotta
know
say.
that Jonah Hill is the actor who swears more than any other actor in film history on average because of that movie? He says
I saw
fuck
that,
like
yes.
180 times or something in that
Yeah.
movie, and it's like
Nice.
the record.
It's crazy.
Good for him.
But going back to people speaking out loud about this whole situation, like GameStop has been
Very
so quiet.
Yeah.
They don't
They'll just
wake the
tweet-
bear.
Well, meanwhile, they're like,
either
buy
that
two,
or
get
they're
one
probably
free.
like,
What do we do?
I mean,
How does
they know that
Yeah.
this is just a
Put the Kingdom Hearts figures on
this will
sale
end.
again.
Yes, right, yeah.
Yeah, they're just looking at these Harley Quinn statues and they're like, that's big money.
I tell you, if I worked for GameStop and I had stock options, buddy, I would be gone. I mean, Reggie's on his 2 new yachts now and just fucking.
Reggie is doing well. God bless you, Reggie.
Yeah, they probably just shut the hell up because it's the first good news since forever that I can remember.
Well, it's like when-
with the whole COVID thing happened and everyone was shutting down and they're like, we're essential workers though. And
There is
Yeah,
a sinister layer, I guess, but
I remember when Pokemon Go hit and went crazy. Nintendo stocks went way up for a while. Nintendo's like, careful, everyone. We're not involved in this. This is not right. And then it was predicted it would go right back down.
yeah, it was huge for a while. Yeah,
Yeah, and that was like Nintendo cautioned people like, this is not because of us.
Right.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's a self-feeding loop almost, where you have like big influencers like Elon Musk and or investment influencers out there,
Mark Cuban.
putting fuel on the fire. Like, I know Elon Musk has lots of fucking bones to pick with short sellers because they've tried to short Tesla so many fucking times. He's just like, yeah.
and then he was put under investigation so many times for just literally saying something out loud and boosting his own like his board is just like, you can't do that. We're getting too much attention on us. And it's like, well, you know what? If you're not doing anything wrong, who cares about how many eyes you have on you? This just, and that also, but then that shows just why like they're angry now. It's because they know they're doing something wrong and they know they can't get away with it.
Yeah. I mean, is it wrong?
No.
I think
Is what wrong?
I've heard arguments for hedge funds that yes, they are shady and they're shitty, but sometimes they are needed because
No.
you need checks and balances on a free market.
If
But then-
this
but
was
then it should be
possible in the
regulated.
system, then this is all okay. If this is what the system allows us to do as Redditors or whoever, it's okay then. I think the
Yes.
whole system's shitty, and I think there's a big problem with where if the stock market crashes, everyone suffers except them.
Well, then it can't truly be a free system then, because if we want it to be fair, then it has to be regulated. If you want a truly free market, this is the free market.
Right, so regulation comes in.
If you're talking about how like short sellers are somehow like these like heroes making sure the balance occurs.
No, I'm not saying it that.
Did you guys
okay.
know Albert Wesker is a triple agent in Resident Evil? There's some weird shit going on there.
But
He was in a volcano once.
what I'm saying is you can't call them like anything close to like balance creators
Robin Hood.
if you don't know what type of balance they're creating.
But I think they help. Like I said, I don't know enough, but I've heard enough arguments where it's like they kind of help people realize what the actual value of a stock is.
Well, sure, but that's
it's
because
an opposing force.
That's because if people create waves, those waves resonate through everything, but they're like creating like wake shields, if we're going to use that as the same like reference. Sorry, I've been researching a lot about water because I'm writing never mind, it's fine.
The shape of water.
Grinding
Yes.
Nemo
It's
is
a
what I
fish
called
fucking-
that.
Right?
Yeah. I like it when you drink.
But
I'm back.
if what they're doing is creating less volatility, then that also needs to be regulated by the government too. And I'm all for the free market, but
Yeah.
if you're not letting it be free, then it's never been the free market.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting, and I think the most political thing I have to say about it is a lot of the arguments from the wealthy
It's very silly.
are silly, but are also able to sway a lot of politicians. And when they're coming out and saying like, all these people sitting at home spending their stimulus checks on GameStop stock, that kind of shit
What
can.
did they spend it on then?
Nothing.
Right.
They keep it in the bank.
But
They
that
don't
shit,
touch it.
but that shit can reach the ears of politicians who are like,
We
don't need stimulus checks if they're just going to set it
them
on.
too.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
Well, I'm not saying that, but that's my argument for like this
know.
could be bad,
But I don't think they're gonna. I honestly, I agree with Brad to some degree, but I do think that this is kind of a watershed
Grinding
moment.
Nemo?
Yeah, it's grinding Nemo.
It's exposing how corrupt the entire system is.
Yes.
And how terrible and shitty it is. And the fact that the regular people are starting to use it scares the shit out of these
Absolutely.
big people.
And
I mean,
that's-
this is a
And
game.
the big people
That's it.
control the politicians, who control the laws, who manipulate the masses.
Yep.
And honestly, I think Umbrella did a lot of terrible things, but they're going to get away with it.
So many.
Did they almost cure cancer? Who knows? Their underground base blew
Chris
up.
Redfield punched a rock.
A zombie shark. Come
Yeah.
on now.
But I won't forget what they did to Jill Valentine.
The tube top.
They dyed her hair blonde.
And they made her a scary fast lady.
I hate scary fast ladies. They've been doing this with other stocks as well, but not to the degree of GameStop. So we were talking about like AMC theaters.
Yep, that's another
Macy's.
one. Macy's.
Milwaukee's very own Koss
Yep.
headphones.
Yes,
or
the
Koss-
parasite, the orphan of Kos.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have Koss headphones. Just buy their stuff. They're really good.
Everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
when I was a kid, we couldn't afford no fucking Sony Walkman. I had a Koss Walkman.
Honestly, they're old. They're older models, the ones that they still produce. They're sick. You've used them before. They're my big.
Oh, yeah.
My big green
set of
ones.
cans.
There's
Yeah.
a reason people are crazy for old audio equipment because they were made right.
Yeah.
Goddamn right,
That
Brad.
thing will last forever. They
Yeah.
give you a lifetime
Goddamn right.
guarantee. If it breaks, I'm literally allowed to walk into the Koss store and they'll give me a new one.
Yeah, this has been a GameSpot. GameSpot, damn it. I told myself
did
I
it.
wasn't going to do it.
Let's raise game spots.
Meanwhile,
yes.
GameSpot is like nothing is happening over there.
Right.
It's just trailers.
So, yeah, I definitely think that this is a pretty big game changer. The whole financial thing, Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Fargo, so I'm going to start.
Very good.
The accent's going to
Which
come
season?
out tonight. The first one. I just finished.
It's great.
It's great.
The first season's really good.
I need to watch it.
The first 3 seasons are great.
Okay. All right. No spoilers.
They're not related this seasons, but okay.
I like that.
They
yeah.
put a body in a wood chipper.
So you're screwing the little fella.
I don't know. I mean, any closing thoughts for you guys on this? I mean, like I said,
think-
this is a game changer, and there's already a movie in the works.
There's
Of
2 of
course
them
there
from
is.
what I've heard.
Is
Yeah.
there? Okay.
Really?
Yeah, Netflix is going to have something on there
Of
fast.
course,
You know
of course.
Netflix.
They're
Yep.
going to sick the
Yeah.
dogs on that, yeah. There's going to be a ton of them, though, let's be clear.
There's going to be a great Black Mirror about it, I hope.
Probably, yeah.
I hope Jesse Eisenberg is in all of them.
Yeah. Jesse Eisenberg as Reggie.
I only see him as Lex Luthor. Yeah. No, I guess...
Seth Rogen as Reggie, maybe.
What I will say is that no matter what you hear, I am not a huge fake news guy, but when it involves something like this big and when it involves money, be very careful about what information you are taking in, because you have to understand that no matter how much you trust your various news sources, they are all conglomerates, generally owned by the same people. So find your information from other sources, other people, but also be careful about what you hear from them too. Listen, find people you trust, stick with them. If they end up being wrong too much, ditch them. You have to really
Wow. I
trust
feel like
yourself. Believe in the force.
This is like the chat somebody has when they go into witness protection.
Yes. Okay. I'm a paranoid motherfucker, and I trust no one really. So just be careful.
You can trust us.
To the moon.
To the moon.
To the moon. Diamond hands. Double diamond hands.
Great.
Let's talk about Xbox.
Brad, should we talk about Xbox?
I know Xbox said, we're going to raise the prices on Xbox Gold. And then everyone was very mad. And then the next day they're like, we're not going to raise the prices on Xbox Gold. We were joking. Plus, here's some free shit.
Well, if you have
That's
Game
pretty much
Pass-
how, yeah.
One of those things was Resident Evil, the remake.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's one of their new games on Games of Gold or whatever.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
shit. Okay.
Shit.
Which
Yeah.
is why we're here today, everybody.
Perfect timing.
So before GameStop took over the world, a couple Fridays ago. I think January 22nd.
So he remembers all of it.
Microsoft effectively doubled the price of an Xbox Live subscription, faced a shit ton of internet rage, then reversed course, all in about a 24-hour period, or less than 24 hours.
They learned their lesson when they botched like the Xbox One release, where they said the wrong thing and they're just like, they backed off very fucking hard this time. Like, we were wrong, we're sorry.
Yeah, this is
So
very quick.
was this to like push people towards Game Pass?
Yes,
or
that is the general.
That is
idea.
one of the theories.
They eventually want to close that down.
Why not just stop charging for the games with gold?
Because you
Just
can't
be like-
force someone to get onto another service. You can't say like, this is ending, join this. There's
Yeah.
technically like some legality involved with that. So if you drive up the price of one thing, people are going to be like, well, fuck it, I'm going over to this thing. Because Game Pass is $15 a month.
Can't they just discontinue games with gold and not sell new memberships?
That's
But
what
that
I'm
would
saying.
that would be a year-long rollout thing. They really want to get.
They want it done fast.
They
but
want it done quick.
I think they
Yeah.
should at least do that, if nothing else. Because if it's going to be comparable pricing, plus Game Pass is amazing.
Yeah,
It's one of the best deals in gaming.
I have a feeling that
It's
if
worth the
you're paying for the games with gold situation, what is it?
What is it now?
I don't have an Xbox.
50,
so-
60 bucks a year?
I think so.
Yes,
I mean,
it
that's
was
what,
$60 a year
yeah.
for an upfront.
I imagine that most people who have that know that Game Pass is as good as it is.
Does Game Pass come
I don't even-
with like online capabilities too?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's basically gold, except it's not. They don't want to offer games like the ones that you can download, and as long as you keep your gold subscription, you get to like
Keep 'em?
keep around. They want to go away from the PS Plus model, and they want it exactly on the Game Pass model because they can remove and put in games based on licensing agreements. That makes a lot of sense for them financially as well, because if you say, oh, this is going to be on here for 4 months, it's a lot better than saying this person gets to keep this.
You don't have to buy
perpetuity.
Seinfeld for Netflix forever, but we have it for 2 months. Enjoy it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which to some people would make them very angry, because if you're a collector, yeah, that might seem like a raw deal. But if you had to be honest about how often you played video games, I don't think that's the worst thing on earth.
Microsoft did drop this on a Friday, which is typically the day you want to drop just shitty news.
Or where someone gets fired. Yeah.
Yeah, just shove it under the table. But the Twitterverse, the social media people weren't having it at all. They just totally were subject to just a shitstorm of, what are you doing? This is the most tone deaf fucking response you can have in the middle of a pandemic, Microsoft. What is wrong with you? You know, video games are an important outlet for social interaction, and you are effectively pricing people out of it. And it turns out that Microsoft read that stuff and pretty much responded with a mea culpa around midnight Eastern time the same day, and with a statement which included the following, led off with the following, I think. We messed up today, and you were right to let us know.
Oh, fuck.
Hey, that's awesome that they say that.
That's kind of, I mean, it's fine. I'd never praise a
We're
corporation.
sorry.
Connecting and playing with friends is a vital part of gaming, and we fail to meet the expectations of players who count on it every day. As a result, we have decided not to change Xbox Live Gold pricing. And on top of that, they also announced that they will be dropping the requirement where you need Xbox Live Gold to play free-to-play games like Fortnite and Warzone
that's cool.
online. So, I guess,
I mean, I don't play them either, but
yeah.
Thank God, my Fortnite, yes.
But I mean, that was
They make enough money off of Fortnite to not have that be a problem.
Yeah, and I don't think it was something that that firewall was immediately taken down. I think it's something that's going to be rolled out over time. But still just bad optics. Good on them for turning the situation around, but just kind of a bad move. And maybe a gradual increase would be fine, because they haven't updated the price of Xbox Live in over 10 years, I think. And this shit is expensive. Like, it's expensive to host all these servers.
Listen, they always.
I want it for free. I'm an American.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is these companies, they hide so much about how much they're making anyway. There's no loss. They're only just trying to improve the margins. That's it.
Well, Microsoft can definitely shoulder a lot of that cost and eat it, but they're still a company,
They make enough money off their software. They're fine.
Okay. I mean,
fine.
I'm not saying that they're not, but that's still shit's cost money. And
I decided I'm just going to call out greed where I see it, baby. And first of all, this is indicative of just someone really thinking they can, like, they're like, if we just sneak this info out, it'll be fine. That's greedy as fuck.
That is absolutely what's
Now, an increase of $1 right away, sure. Maybe the next year another $1. But when you do that right away, that's just pure greed.
and now you're
simple.
paying. Yeah, you have to pay twice as much.
It's bad consumerism.
Right. Yeah. Not good.
Yeah.
Not good. So there you go. Fuck you, Microsoft. Thank you, Microsoft. But still, kind of fuck off.
It's this love-hate relationship we have with these fucking.
Now we can play
companies.
Fortnite.
We know what you're up to. We agree everyone should be on Game Pass. Be a little more subtle about it.
Yes.
I am now remembering how tough it is to pace yourself drinking because I'm halfway done and I'm like, I could just drink 10 more right now.
All right. Well, easy there, Tiger. All right.
Woo! Meow meow.
Let's move on. Vicarious Visions, the developer most recently behind the critically and commercially successful Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake and the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy, has been rewarded for their work by being officially folded into Blizzard, where they will be, quote, fully dedicated to existing Blizzard games and initiatives. So good job, Vicarious Visions.
World of Warcraft remake?
Diablo 2.
Yes. So the rumor is they've been working on the Diablo 2 remake for almost a year or a year-ish.
I hear Toys for Bob is involved. Am I wrong?
They kind of had some shared DNA.
I think one was published. I honestly don't know, so I can't say with any authority.
I'm not sure, but it could be. Yeah, so the studio had been an Activision support studio for a long time, actually, and this will now make all of them officially full Blizzard employees.
What an honor.
Yes.
I wish
I wish everyone could see Dylan's face when he said that.
I love monopolies. Very cool.
Blizzard's last attempt at a remaster didn't go so hot with they had the Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Yeah.
And
a lot of people did not like it.
No, so much so that it became, I don't know if it still is, but it became the worst user-reviewed, user-scored game on Metacritic with a 0.6.
That's review bombing.
Oh, totally.
You can't trust that. If an average person played World of Warcraft 3 Reforged, I doubt that it would have been this bad.
0.7.
You're right.
0.7, yeah.
Yeah, there
not quite a 1.
Almost a 1. So, I mean, that was, I think, Blizzard's biggest stumble possibly ever.
To be fair, no offense to anyone who really loves WoW, that fandom can be absolutely insufferable.
Well, the problem is when any fandom is that big, there's going to be a largely insufferable group of them.
But and also people are playing. You're playing off nostalgia and memories, so no one's ever going to. It's never going to feel like it was the first time.
Right.
It's just not how. It's not how any of this shit works. Like, I play a lot of games. Like, I'm like, oh man, there was this game for the Sega Genesis called Target Earth, and I was obsessed
Target :
yes,
Earth.
And it's a good game, but I remember it being like the shit. And then I played it recently on my computer on a ROM, and I just went, no.
Not anymore.
No,
I was
not
mistaken.
quite.
Right.
Not quite.
Yeah, I'm sorry that happened to you, man.
That's okay. I just remember the music. I could literally just sing it.
So I think, Vicarious Visions has a pretty good track record with the remakes and the remasters. So, I mean, this makes sense to me. But at the same time, there's part of me that says that would have liked to see them just kind of
Do their own thing.
They were
Just do more remakes.
do more remakes.
Do their own thing.
It's not Blizzard remakes.
I'm not going to lie. They fucking crushed it every game they came out with.
Yeah.
So, yeah, keep making remakes. I mean,
That's what they do.
yeah, it's that time of
Croc Legend of the Gobbles. Come on.
Gen
Gobos.
64. Let's have it.
Is it
69.
Did we discuss this? Is it Gobbles or Gobos?
I'm like Gobos. I think this came up on our last
It
episode.
might be Gobos, like Goblin. I don't know.
Go check out the last episode of the Dogcast. We had our buds from Gaming Off the Grid on there. We talked about video game mascots,
It's a lot of
including
fun.
Wow, Woody. Oh my God. Moving on.
He's a pencil.
And at least all the people in Vicarious Visions don't have to move or be uprooted. The studio's staying in the same spot.
It's always
Once people can go back to work, I guess.
It's always strange to me just how many of a lot of these little studios who just get gobbled up so quickly. It kind of breaks my heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's becoming like definitely more frequent. There's not a lot of independent. Not that Vicarious Visions was actually independent. They were an Activision studio, so it just makes sense, I guess, or easy for them to fold them in. But
do you think they were actually like, yeah, we want to make a remake of Diablo 2? Because what else did they make? They made Crash, and they made
Tony Hawk.
They've been around since like the 90s, so they have like a huge Yeah, they made the original like Tony Hawk 3 and shit like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people are still there, but they had a pretty extensive gameography. So
I like it when creators get to make what they want. And this sounds a bit like everyone liked Diablo 2. Remember when Diablo 2 was out? Make Diablo 2. Like, I don't know.
right on. Yeah,
And isn't there supposed to be a Diablo 4 soon?
yes.
That's the big rumor.
Yep.
Okay.
So stay tuned for Diablo 2, and then a year or two later, Diablo 4. I think that's probably how it's going to happen. But hey, remember we talked about Star Wars? Remember that? We talked about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Talk about Star Wars. too much
Lucasfilm
in my
games,
life.
you know?
Love Star Wars.
Yeah, okay.
I do too.
Yeah, so rumors have it that Knights of the Old Republic 3 is actually in development, and the rumors are also flying that neither EA or BioWare are involved. Yes!
They're not the same company.
These most recent rumors come from a credible insider known as Bespin Bulletin, who appeared on a recent episode of the B.O.B. podcast.
Cloud City.
What's the name of the robot? Is it Lobot on Cloud
Lobot,
City?
yeah.
Lobot. Yeah.
He carries the ice cream maker. That's what the machine is he's carrying in the.
Is it really?
scene. Yeah, apparently it's an ice cream maker. That they just painted a different color.
Love it.
Yeah.
Ice. Bespin Bulletin said on the podcast, quote, amongst my digging, I heard there's a Knights of the Old Republic project in development somewhere. I talked to a couple people, and I also found out that Jason Schreier said it's not with EA and will, quote, never guess who the studio is that's making the game. I immediately thought, I'm like, fucking Obsidian's getting it. Like, that would be awesome. You know, they worked on KOTOR 2, and they do a good job with other people's properties.
But he said
OPP.
you'll never guess, though.
I'm gonna make a
Exactly.
guess.
So that's what everyone's thinking, right?
Yes.
Nintendo.
No, hold on.
So-
I want everyone to guess. This is my new thing.
Well,
And,
they said
whoever-
Scuttlebutt has mentioned that the studio developing the game is not so obscure, but not entirely a household name. So, From Software.
I'm going.
I think they're too busy with Elden Ring.
They're also a Japanese studio. They've got their own
Annapurna.
stuff.
I'd love to see a Japanese studio.
Annapurna?
do
You
it.
think Annapurna?
No, but that'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah, that'd be kind of sick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess Crystal Dynamics.
Okay.
They haven't done a Lara Croft in a while. I think
Which
Square
I think
Enix.
they're-
I think
yeah.
Square Enix, even as like a publisher, I think they'd be more willing to give an RPG to them.
I wonder if that's why. No.
Maybe
Never mind.
Bungie.
No,
Bungie's trying to get away from Destiny.
Bungie's a household.
they can't escape Destiny. That's their brand now.
They're working on something else. I've heard.
Literally. Yeah.
In tandem, or are they just gonna eventually ditch Destiny?
They're working on something else. I know.
Ugh, that's bad news for Destiny people.
Is this going to be an online game?
I hope not.
They did that. They did
really
an
knows.
MMO of that. It was just called the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But is
Or
this
Galaxies.
what is this? It's another story in the universe. Because if this is going to be a new Star Wars game, it's going to be canon. So
Right.
it can't be a continuation of the
They
previous
might not.
games.
They might not call it 3. Then they just might call it Knights of the Old Republic 2023.
Days of the Old Republic instead of Knights.
There you go. That's how I can get around it.
Boom.
Yep.
Dotar.
Dotar. Not bad. Not bad.
Dotor.
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody's speculating now, so it's hard to know like what rumors are more credible than the others. But
We should have a little like bet.
Would this be an Xbox exclusive?
no, I don't think so.
wouldn't
Unless it's with no, I don't even if it was with an Xbox development studio, I don't think it would be.
Okay.
That's
'Cause
my gut.
I don't know
They
about
would
the
sell the
Indiana
shit out of it.
Jones game that's happening. but
Yeah.
I'm guessing the smart thing to do would make that an Xbox exclusive. But if they're busy with that,
If Disney
then-
would let them do that, I don't know
Yeah.
if they would. That's the thing.
Well, that would also no, it wouldn't. That might actually end up making it a PS5 if I said Crystal Dynamics, because Crystal Dynamics goes through Squeenix, which is getting a lot of exclusives with the PlayStation 5, or at least timed exclusive.
Yeah.
I don't know. This one's a thinker, but I mean, I'll play it if it's good.
Yeah.
Again, I don't pre-order things anymore, so if it's good, I'll play it.
That's not a bad way to live your
Unless
life.
it's
that's
made
for
by
sure.
Nintendo, I'll just be like, yeah, all right.
All right. Well, if you have any idea or who you think is making the next KOTOR game, please let us know. hairofthedogcast@gmail.com or Twitter us @hotdogcast. It'd be great. I want to know.
I think God and Jesus made it just like me.
No one thought Jesus would be making it. But
Jesus, he knows.
He's pretty obscure.
Yeah.
He's a very good coder. It's not something you'd expect.
Let's transition here. Popular video game executive and Halo 2 tattoo owner Peter Moore is coming back, baby, to the video game
That was
industry
a fake tattoo.
after a 3-year stint running the Liverpool UK Football Club. Moore is best known for his time as head of Sega during the Dreamcast launch and heading up Xbox for the Xbox 360 launch and the whole Red Ring of Death fiasco, and also sporting the infamous fake Halo 2 tattoo, announcing the release date of said game at E3 2004. Peter Moore has now joined Unity Technologies, the maker of the popular Unity engine, as senior vice president of its sports and live entertainment division. He's a sports guy. He was also the head of EA Sports from 2007 to 2011 before he became
in
the
the
COO.
game.
It is.
It's on the disc.
Most of it is on a disc.
Just download a code to unlock it.
Right. Get the Ultimate Team pack. Then it's in the game.
Sometimes microtransactions.
Yes. Hey, welcome back, Peter. I'm a big Peter Moore fan. Dude seems like a good dude. He's like one of the.
I was talking with him the other day. He says he loves our show.
Yeah.
See, I'm more of a part of the Molyneux crew.
You would.
No, I find it
Actually,
really
you
boring.
probably are. Yeah.
What do you mean?
What is that supposed to mean?
What do you mean by that?
It's the best thing ever. It's cube.
If you kick
Like my cube.
if you kick a chicken, it causes
It's
a
a-
tidal wave across the entire
Play this
map.
Connect game with this dead child living in it. It's like a lucid dream.
Okay. Anyway, sorry, Peter Molyneux. I love you too.
And we're back.
Yes. You made
Spit in
Syndicate.
this girl's hair. She'll cry.
Finally, guys, this one's hot off the presses. Google has announced that they are closing down all of its internal Stadia game development teams.
How could this happen?
I don't know. And will now be focusing on hosting third-party games. This move affects roughly 150 employees,
I thought it was going to be 150 users of Stadia.
right? Including Jade Raymond, who will be leaving her role as Google's head of game development. I forgot that she was there.
Damn.
So, kind of the matron of Assassin's Creed. RIP Stadia internal development teams. Don't buy stocks in Stadia.
Uh-oh. That means they're going to buy stocks in Stadia.
I jinxed
I've actually got some money on Robinhood right now. I'm going to see what I can do about this.
I think it's
just
just Google. Yeah.
Never mind. I can't afford Google.
So
Google will be fine.
they will soldier on. They will get over this for sure.
I'm a big
And
boy, so I guess I don't care.
I want a
I've been
shirt.
big boy.
I want you to wear a shirt that says "I'm a big boy,"
Yeah, I think I'm going to make that shirt.
and the O in big boy is your face. I need you to wear shirts with your own face on it.
Yeah, it's something I would do.
Oh my god.
Do we need to talk about games we played at all?
Oh, we haven't done that in a while. We can.
Jesus, Tom.
Can keep it brief.
Yeah, Dylan.
Oh, I've been playing way too much. You always know this. But I've been getting back into Crusader Kings 3. I have to limit myself on that game or it's going to become a real problem.
Yeah.
There's so many like hidden mechanics in that game. And it's like...
It's deep, baby.
I'm a big lover of like the Civilization series. And that gets boring to me after a while because there's just not enough going on. But I fucking love Crusader Kings 3.
Nice.
I got like incest families, and then they have little dumb babies, and then they completely screw up the empire until they date a really hot woman, and it gets it right back into line. It's like the royal family now. Yeah,
They
they're
all
about
move to LA.
I just keep
get a
thinking
reality
of,
show.
Look at Prince Philip. Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry.
Those fucking Germans. I swear to God, they're originally German. Did you know that?
I never know what you're going to
They
pick
all
a fight
bred,
with.
and they
I
bred,
can never tell.
and they all bred with their
Those
cousins
fucking
and shit,
Germans.
and that's why they look that way. So
Yeah.
congratulations. I don't care if you like the Royals. Go yourself.
We'll never be royals.
Like if you like the Royals and you're like, how dare you insult the Queen? Bitch, I live in America.
How dare you insult the queen?
Speaking of hating hereditary lines and incest, Tom, what have you been playing?
I'm still hammering away at Persona 5 Royal.
Right on. What
I've-
dungeon are you on?
I'm in Mementos. I guess
Fresh Maker.
I guess spoilers. I don't know, but I'm in the final semester.
Okay.
So I
The trimester.
didn't realize you had to do things to unlock it. Luckily, I did them.
You didn't know?
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, good thing you were busy with your confidants.
Yes, I maxed them all out. I was really upset that you couldn't date Kasumi, and then when she turns in again, spoilers, Sumire,
Yeah.
you can. And I was like, yes, because I mean, we've had this conversation here that I used to be a gymnast, and the fact that
Yeah.
It's
won,
obvious.
I was like, yeah, and it sucks that you have to unlock all that shit in order to get it. But I'm very glad that I did.
Good. I think I'd date Kasumi too. I never played Royal, but just seeing pictures of her and some footage, I'm like,
Yeah, she's hot as
seems
shit.
It would really suck to play 100 hours of a game and not unlock the bonus content.
Yeah,
shit.
Yeah, especially if you had played it before
played it,
and then
yeah.
been like, oh, is that all the bonus shit? Just like
I would be
the random encounters of everything that happened throughout. Like knowing that there's that palace that you walk through by the stadium that you go into that you don't, at that point you don't unlock, and then just it ends and you're like, well, what about that other, what was up with that?
Thank God you got everything
for
done.
real. But apparently all you need to do is max out Maruki.
Nope. Maruki, Kasumi, and Akechi, all at different
really?
times. There's different deadlines, but as long as you're spending time with them, you'll be fine.
I almost lost my shit because I was in Shido's ship, and I was like, I haven't maxed out Akechi, and this game's about to be over.
But
like,
you-
what the fuck do I do?
But you max him out all the way until
you
that
max him
point.
out in that palace, and I
game
was like,
says take
oh,
your
this
time.
is cool. This is cool. This is the first time that you max out somebody like,
In story.
yeah,
Yeah.
instead of like reaching out to him.
Right.
It was really cool. But yeah, now I'm in Mementos. There's a part that's blocked in his palace that I have to go into Mementos and unlock. And after that, I think I have the boss fight at his thing, and then it's over.
Cool, man.
So I'm almost done.
All right.
So
Sick.
the first time I
a
played
long
through
game.
it, the first time I played through it, it took me like 6 months, and I don't know when I borrowed it, like 2 weeks before we recorded the Persona 5 episode.
Yeah, which is like
So-
mid-December.
So
was a while ago.
almost over a month.
Wow.
So good job, dummy.
Yeah.
And then I just spend. Thank you. I just spend.
No, you deserve that. That's actually like I do consider stuff like that accomplishments because when you put that much time into anything, it
well,
doesn't
now
matter
that I
what.
know how to play it, it's just like boom. I
Yeah.
got to get this done. I got to get this done. I got to get that done. And as long as you can just get a bunch of requests for mementos and just hold on to them, do mementos in one day, do a palace in one day.
Yeah. Mhm.
You can just spend the rest of your time hanging out in the bathhouse. So.
Right. And then also play Persona 5.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and then right before I go to bed, I chuck like 10 minutes of Kentucky Route Zero on and just have a good time picking dialogue and
Awesome. I got to play that.
choosing the lyrics to really good music.
Yeah.
And it's fucking rad.
That's so cool.
It's really good. I
Now,
think
how
I'm
far-
appreciating like all the art aspects of it, like after talking to you. And
I think a lot of people think of this game in terms of an adventure game, like one of those point and click ones. And I think for a lot of people, that's what they go into this expecting.
Yeah.
Whereas this
That's
is
kind of what I have in my mind.
I
this
feel
is
like it's
more-
more of a graphic novel with
Yes.
cool polygon like artwork. But
Like
I
Dream
think the
Daddy.
reason I was so upset the last time we talked about it, about like the prologues and whatever, was because I had to play through that one. I think it's the beginning of Act 3.
Is this in the museum?
No, you're in the bar and
It's like a
he's-
stage play.
Yeah, and I would play it, fall asleep, and then I'd go in the next day and it would restart itself. Because that bit's like a 20-minute long thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if I'd pass out during it, I'd have to replay it. And that's why I was like, I just want to get through this. I'm sure you can skip it. I just don't really want to.
I mean,
but-
you can. I would suggest not because all of this stuff is so reoccurring. It's almost like an Our Town kind of story when you really break down what's going on and all the characters that you can miss if you're not paying attention. They'll come back again. It's avant-garde. I love this game.
Yeah.
What I'm going to term, you know how in walking simulators, how they have those very story-based ones where it's you walk through it and you kind of experience it.
Yeah.
And then they'll have dialogue with people and stuff like that. Gone Home.
Edith
This
Finch,
is like
Firewatch.
that mixed with like an adventure game.
Okay.
That's what this is. And if you go into it with that kind of mindset, you're fine because everything else is so gorgeous about it.
Yeah.
And there are like legitimately unexpected things that happen.
Yeah, it just gets weirder and weirder as it goes on, which is cool. Because like when I first started playing like the first act, I was like, what is this? And then you get to the end of it and you're like, oh, cool. And then you play the second act and something else weird happens and you're like, cool.
Nice.
And then you get to the third act and you're just like, why is there in this office building a floor full of bears?
Yeah, they're all working at desks.
They're all working at desks and cubicles, and you're like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Like, it's the
like
weirdest
Battletoads.
game, but it
Yeah.
just keets you engaged. And just the teeniest little things, like the two band members, when they walk,
Juno
they
and,
make Junebug and Jimmy or
yeah,
whatever.
yep.
When they walk, it goes whoop, 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 like they're robots, but they're obviously people.
Okay,
but
yeah.
it's just like a design choice that they've done, and they're also like trance musicians at the same time.
Okay.
She has a
And
great
as you
song.
do.
Dude,
That took me away. It blew my mind. I got shivers watching
the fact that you're choosing the lyrics that she's singing is fucking so cool.
I did hear about that part.
Yeah, it's so cool.
That's
anyway,
cool.
if you haven't played that, play it.
It's definitely on my list. I will, and it's been on my list for a while.
Play it on the Switch because I think that's actually the best version of it.
I do too, but that's just because I do it while I'm like right before I'm about to go to sleep.
Cool.
I just love the Nintendo Switch.
Brad?
Yeah.
Switch handheld is beautiful.
Brad, have you been playing anything?
I wanted to mention two things.
Go ahead.
First, Bloodborne. There was recently discovered.
You played Bloodborne?
Well, first, there was recently discovered a way to farm blood echoes incredibly fast. Chalice dungeons, you can input like glyphs that like. There's procedurally generated chalice dungeons, which no one really likes them, but you can put in a code, and then like the code works for everybody. There's like millions of possible codes. If you put in the code CUMMFPK, come FPK.
What?
You just go in the chalice dungeon, and then within 10 seconds, you automatically get 83,000 blood echoes. It's just some.
Oh, wow.
There's a part of the level that automatically kills something close by that's worth a lot of blood echoes.
So it just kind of like drops.
It's very fast, and you just use a bold hunter's mark, and you're able to farm blood echoes in an insane way. So last night, I just did it for like 20 minutes, and I was able to just like level up most of the weapons and buy everything I didn't have. And now I'm gonna like input endgame stats. I didn't really play too much extra Bloodborne, but if you are playing it,
Yeah.
all you have to do is have beaten the Bloodstarved Beast, and you can now farm blood echoes as much as you need to.
That's awesome.
Also, is it breaking the game? That's up to you.
Yeah.
They might patch it out.
And then I played a game that Tom had mentioned to me when I was picking up podcast stuff the other day. He mentioned a game called Cyber Shadow.
Oh,
which
did he
is-
really?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
It was on Game Pass,
Yep.
and it is from the most beloved, wonderful homies at Yacht Club Games, who, of course, made Shovel Knight.
Yes.
And this is...
They published it. Yes. The developer's like a one-man studio or a mechanical head.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard it's
small.
great.
It's kind of... what game is it based off of?
I thought it's definitely Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden,
Inspired, but also Strider for NES.
I loved the soundtrack. I loved the simple approach, and it feels like a classic Nintendo game, but it also... I don't know if Yacht Club wasn't the developer, but it has like a certain color scheme that Shovel Knight had too, which is those 8-bit graphics, but it's got like a different color sheen to it, which kind of just makes it have a different feel. I played that for maybe 25 minutes last night and
cool.
enjoyed the heck out of it.
Cool, yeah. I've been dabbling in that as well. Nothing serious, but I'm a few levels in, and
It's a one-man team.
is it?
One guy made it, huh?
Yeah, Mechanical Head Studios, but it looks German.
9?
I would say
Hunkaiser?
I'd say Arnie Hunziker?
Okay.
Arna. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
speak Swedish.
I'm frozen. No,
That's Finnish.
Is it?
You were close, yeah. Very good.
As someone who's lived with a Finnish person, I will never understand that fucking language.
Finish him. Yes. Do you think you're going to keep playing it or peace out on it?
I beat Link's Awakening last night, which Dylan had borrowed to me, and I needed to get that one out of my system. And now I have to beat Assassin's Creed Origins, and then I have to review every single TurboGrafx game.
You don't.
Then after that,
No. Not every game. You don't. No.
I'm going to do it. And then I might play Booger Man as Josh's recommendation. So after that, then we'll talk about it.
Oh my gosh.
How about you, Tom?
Yeah, just a couple of quick things. I did finish. Speaking of Assassin's Creed, I finished Valhalla.
Oh, nice. That was much faster than your previous Assassin's Creed games.
140 hours.
Oh, never mind.
I think.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Damn, you probably started that around the same time I started Persona.
The day the new Xbox came out,
Yeah.
I started it, and it's pretty much the main thing I played all up until maybe
that
a
explains
week and
why
a
you
half
haven't
ago.
opened up your PlayStation 5.
There you go. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I do have a lot of thoughts that I didn't really collate about that game yet. But the end, no spoilers, but this is the end of a trilogy. It's supposed to kind of like, I thought it was supposed to wrap up the modern day story. And I know I was talking to you, Brad, where I'm like, I thought I beat the game, but it kind of ended on a cliffhanger. And I thought, okay, there's a couple storylines that I didn't finish. So maybe if I finish those, it'll all wrap up and I'll get like a final cutscene that resolves everything. And nope, it ends on a cliffhanger. And it's probably one of the most interesting things that they've done as far as the modern day story.
More
goes.
First Civilization stuff.
Yeah. And it's funny because this game has very little of the modern day shit. Like it doesn't.
They've been backing away from it more and more kind of every game.
It does
in a
not,
wise way.
Yes, and it does not like force you out of the animus. Maybe it does that once, maybe twice.
If you want to.
But they mostly leave it up to you. And then when you leave, they'll add new little like fucking computer files around, as you're playing the game that kind of will inform some of the things that you're doing while you're in the animus. But man, I was let down that it ended on the cliffhanger. But it's a pretty cool direction that they're going.
Well,
I'm
but
going
if there's
to ask you off the cast because I can't play all these. I just can't.
if there's a season pass, you might get some more information
I'm hoping.
coming from some of those, or,
Yeah.
or they might just be other like side
DLCs
stuff in the
and
back.
stuff.
But
Yes.
it'd be cool if Assassin's Creed went super meta, and when you went out of the animus, you actually had to like leave your game console and like go to a website on the computer. And like that was like leaving the animus is actually just like not
the
playing
Majestic.
the game legit.
Yes.
I don't know.
It tells you to walk outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's somebody outside wearing an assassin's hood. You're like, whoa.
So outside of that, I started Near Automata for like
Yay!
about an hour.
Yes.
And then I stopped playing that. I'll go back to it. But I've been playing Disco. I got to get through Disco Elysium.
Oh, I
Love
can't
it.
wait for that to come out.
It's so
for
good.
the
And
PlayStation.
I think
It's coming to the Switch too.
Oh, then I might get it for that.
if we could go back and posthumously redo our Game of the Year awards, I'm playing a game right now that I think probably would have been my Game of the Year had I played it in 2020. And I started Yakuza Like a Dragon. I don't know if you guys are into the Yakuza games.
But I've heard this
intrigued.
one is like, it's more Persona-esque where it's
JRPG.
Yes.
turn-based.
Yes,
what
it
I mean
is.
by
Yeah,
that.
it is a RP. It is officially now. It is a fucking full RPG.
Nice.
I have
Nice.
I think I had Yakuza 0 that was for the PlayStation Plus
Okay,
at some
yeah.
point that I dabbled in, and I was like, I'm gonna want to play all of these, so I'm not gonna start it.
Yeah, I haven't played a lot of the Yakuza games.
Zero
I
is
dabbled
the
in
best
Zero. I played probably 30 hours of Zero. And I
That's about what
liked
I
a lot.
like, yeah.
I finished the side game Judgment that came out.
I think
last
that's
year.
the one that I want to play because like a standalone.
Yep. Yeah, it is.
And-
yeah.
and
it's a detective.
And
kind of stuff.
I'm gonna be okay playing that one and be like, cool, that was great.
I don't know, man.
But
There are
if I
characters
play,
that show up.
if I play Yakuza, I feel like I'm gonna want to play all 7 of them.
Yeah,
or 8.
I don't know. I think this one's a good one to get in on because I haven't felt the urge to go back and play any. You play as a brand new character, for the first time in like the entire series in a brand new neighborhood, Yokohama instead of Kamurocho, and just the party dynamics, the characters you meet.
Yeah.
I like the Yakuza 0 and just the love that they put into that game. This game seems like it's even more special. So, still relatively early in on it.
That came out in like December though, didn't it? Or like November?
November, yeah.
So
Yeah.
like that's a hard one to get into and have it be your game of the year. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah. Everything about it so far is outside of a couple things. It's really cool. So can't wait to see where that goes. And that's pretty much what I've been playing. How about now we take a break
Let's do it.
and come back. We'll have ourselves a little roundtable, good old-fashioned Dogcast roundtable discussion about the Resident Evil franchise, a Patreon topic from our buddy.
Ryan Christianek.
Yes.
And this is the first time I've had to actually use the bathroom on a break in over a month.
Shit! All right.
We're back, everybody.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you in a few. Don't go anywhere. Resident. I was going to.
Resident Evil. Commercial break.
Video Death Loop is a podcast where we watch a short video clip on loop until we just can't take it anymore. Along the way, we'll try our best to make each other laugh and to hold out longer than the other guy. You can jump in on any episode, no need to worry about continuity. Check out Video Death Loop on the Greenlit Podcast Network with new episodes every Friday.
With a purposeful grimace and a terrible smile, join Nikki and Wyatt as we stomp our way through the history of Toho's Dai Kaiju films in Discuss All Monsters.
Are you telling me we're going to discuss all monsters?
We won't stop until there isn't a monster left to discuss. Smash that play button like Godzilla and King Kong smash an 18th century Japanese pagoda.
Only on the Greenlit Podcast Network.
Okay, now we're back. All right. Hey! Welcome back to part 2, the main event, if you will, of Hair of the Dogcast, episode 88. We are going to talk about Resident Evil, one of our favorite franchises.
But first,
Brad.
one of our Patreon supporters and one of our most ardent fans that we love so much, Ryan Christianek,
I
reached out.
honestly love him, though.
This is amazing. This is real love. Like, I actually love him now because he sent us a package with so much Texas beer. We're going to be drinking it for the next month on like the podcast, both Raw Dogs and Dogcast.
Absolutely. I don't think there's beer left in Texas now. That's how much beer he actually sent us.
It's fantastic. We have so much of this, and we're going to drink some of them for the next 4 episodes of between both shows.
I think it's implied that if Ryan ever visits Milwaukee, Wisconsin, we're going to give him the royal treatment.
And there are ways on Patreon where you can dictate what we will talk about.
Yep.
Also, if you send us a month's worth of beer, we'll talk about anything you want us to talk about for a while, you know?
Honestly, I'm also excited to talk about the Resident Evil franchise anyway, but
Me too.
this is very generous. I don't think I've ever had anyone who's a fan enough of anything I've ever done to do something this nice. So I think this is really cool. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you.
To just to get one beer, let alone like a whole, just complete collection of beers.
I mean, for real.
So,
Ryan,
I mean, I did it, and now I'm on the podcast.
there you go.
Yeah.
Hey, dreams can come
yeah,
true.
when I got you guys all the New Mexico beers when I went down to visit my family.
oh, we love
Came back and you were like, get this guy on the pod.
Great pour.
So what we're saying is, if you want to send us beer, we'll do anything you say.
Yep.
Yeah. Honestly, it's really much easier than this, but it's fine.
It's all right. What are we? So we are drinking one of these beers from Ryan.
Yes.
What do we got here?
So our first one we're going to drink is from Galveston Island Brewing, and this is a tiki wheat. It's brewed on an island, apparently. It's a rich wheat flavor, German hops.
Texas has the biggest islands.
A little coriander and some, it says you should serve with an orange wedge. I can tell this is going to be a really delicious beer.
Right up my alley.
So yeah, everybody.
Thank you, Ryan.
To Ryan.
To Ryan.
And there we go.
Cheers.
You can hear that?
Very good. This is the perfect beer.
It tastes like pineapples.
As Josh would say, this is crushable.
Pairs well with hammocks, pools,
you would say that.
beer goggles, and beaches, it says.
Nice.
Oh, gosh.
Yes. Billy's got his beer goggles on, as they say.
All right, guys. Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Have you played the games?
Yes.
Okay, great. That has been an episode.
what are we
Thank
talking
you very
So my personal experience with Resident Evil was watching my brother play Resident Evil 2 and 3 on the PlayStation. Now, I dabbled, but those games were pretty tough for my young age at the time.
Yeah.
My first major step was when I made the decision to buy the GameCube and got the Resident Evil remake. I remember
Chef's kiss.
I would play it out. We had a separate tool shed with like a TV with like a couch out there, and I went and stayed out in there and played it all night in the dark. Fell in love with Resident Evil so hard that day.
Yeah, man.
Big fan of the series. There was, of course, some missteps, but Resident Evil 7 was so scary I didn't even finish it. In VR.
Same.
Nice.
I'm about to start it in VR, and my goal, because I know the game really well by now, like I really found everything. I like 100%ed it, and I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it, and I'm going to get the shit scared out of me, because
Just
that game fucked me a little.
Make sure you move everything out of the way. I'm not joking.
No, he's not.
Even your girlfriend, because I almost like kicked my girlfriend in the face when shit happens.
I fell out of the chair one time that I was sitting in.
Yeah,
Shit does happen.
I'm just happy I know where the surprises are.
Yeah. Well,
that's
even still.
Things move around in that game more than you think.
Yeah, dude, because
Those sludgy guys can really come up
when
on you.
when you're in that scene where the garage is on fire.
Oh, and the guy. Oh
and,
no!
And you turn your head, and he pops up. I kicked. I tried to kick him away, and my girlfriend was standing there, and I luckily missed her. But she was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I was like, I screamed. Yeah, I didn't know she had walked in the room. But you have to make sure everything.
I'm going to
is
put my
out of your way when you
cats
play
in
that
the room
game.
with some food as I play.
Okay, as someone who was watching you play VR earlier today, your cat was sitting directly in front of you, looking up at you while you were playing. So,
Norm, I got to be careful with
Yeah.
Norm.
right,
But
we love that cat.
My cat's chewed through my cable. It still works. I just put electric tape on it. But
my
you
guys
just gotta be
aren't
careful.
chewers. So the only thing that Goblin likes to eat is crinkly bags. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Crinkly bags.
He doesn't
not
do
chewers.
chords. Yeah.
Excellent. I think my first foray into Resident Evil, or me knowing about it, was reading magazines back in the day. I didn't get a PlayStation. I didn't have a PlayStation when Resident Evil came out. I had a Sega Saturn, and they ported Resident Evil over to that later. But prior to that, I played a game that was similar called Alone in the Dark. The one that that Dylan mentioned that nobody played. It's okay. Anyways, that was a very
They
rudimentary.
made a movie with Tara Reid.
Yeah, they did. Was Sean Bean in that? No.
Sean Bean, was he in Alone in the Dark? We're about to get this fact checked.
Wasn't he in Silent Hill?
Silent Hill. Yeah, sorry. Anyways, getting sidetracked here. So when I saw Resident Evil, I'm like, oh, this looks like they're trying to copy Alone in the Dark, even though it looks better. But I started having friends that had PlayStations, and they were like, dude, this game's really cool. Do you know that you think the mansion's the whole game, but then you get outside the mansion, and there's things out there. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and it actually came out for Saturn, and for some reason, I just immediately pegged that franchise as a play. Like, if I'm going to play it, I need to play it on the PlayStation. Later, I got a PlayStation, and I played it. First game I bought for the PlayStation.
So you had the original one with the really bad soundtrack.
I had...
Or did you have the director's
I had
cut?
director's cut.
Or the director's cut DualShock version?
Not DualShock version, the first director's cut.
Thank God, because that first one's got one of the worst soundtracks ever made.
Does it really?
Oh, yeah. Listen to some of that when we're done here.
Oh, God. Can't wait.
It was made by a guy who claimed he was deaf.
It's true. It's true.
Oh, my God.
I remember you said that in an episode of Raw Dogs. I'm like, I'm fact checking. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
And it was true.
Yeah.
You gotta check it out.
It's a whole thing. It's
Dylan,
crazy.
what was your first encounter?
So it would have literally been, it was my first game for the GameCube.
Okay, the remake?
Yeah, and it was so hard for me to play. I didn't beg my mom to return it, but I asked her if I could also get Super Mario Sunshine because the other game was...
I want a game I want to play.
I'm like, it scared me, granted, but it was also just tank controls. And if you're like an 11-year-old kid, that is something to get used to.
Yeah.
Especially when you're used to games controlling
Normal?
well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought it looked gorgeous. Like I would have some of the neighborhood kids over and they'd watch it and they would just be like, whoa, because they were usually like 3 or 4 years younger than me, so they weren't supposed to be seeing it anyway. But yeah, and I didn't really get into it though until Resident Evil 4.
Okay.
That's when it became really gamey.
That's when it became awesome.
The first 3 ones, and then you could throw in Code Veronica and Zero as well. They remind me a lot of point and click adventure games where it's more like they have the stagnant camera shots and you're going through an area, opening a drawer, grabbing this crest. And apart from the really bad gameplay of shooting zombies,
Some adventure games actually aped the Resident Evil format later.
Because the puzzles were pretty good.
Yeah, but like you said, they adopted that because they thought this would work really good in an adventure game format. Sorry, Brad.
no, I mean to me it's just they play like point and click adventure games with really bad shooting mechanics. Everything outside of the shooting mechanics is great. The atmosphere, the storytelling, some of the voice acting, we all know the jokes and all of that, but
It's lovable.
even like for the remake, it's fantastic. It's moody. It's atmospheric, and then you have to just try and run away from a zombie, and you change cameras when you go around the corner. And do you keep holding that direction? Do you switch directions?
Ooh, yeah.
And your person does this like weird motion. There's
Games?
nothing fluid about it, and the remakes of 2 and 3 were able to kind of find the right changes to that.
2 Remake is to be clear, my favorite Resident Evil game, period.
Yeah.
It's just one of those games that
It's so good.
immediately and honestly just kicks so much ass that I'm just like, oh, this beats 4. This beats like everything. Like I played 4 recently and I'm like, yeah, I remember loving it, but then I remember playing through that game like it was nobody's business, and now I'm having trouble. I'm like,
Because of the stop and go? Of like having to stop.
You have to stop
and
the aim.
shoot?
Yeah.
but you still have to do that in 2 Remake.
Do you?
You can't run and gun. You have to stop and
think
shoot.
you-
No.
I think you might be able to.
Yeah.
Look that up, please, Brad.
I don't remember it bothering me when I played it.
No, because I
definitely more
think
fluid.
I think it's more like you can then easily like run away. But I don't think you can. I don't think you can back up while you're shooting or anything like that. I might be wrong about that. I
Brett's
played it.
checking the tape,
I
but,
played it
yeah.
2 years ago. But
Just because I replayed 4 or started replaying 4 not too long ago, and that was also a hang up. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I have to fucking stop the aim, and then you know. So Resident Evil remake,
that would be my first. Yep,
and then Resident Evil 2 remake
is my favorite.
Sadly, I haven't played 4, which is ranked as one of the greatest games of all time by a lot of people, and one of the greatest Resident Evil games. I haven't played it. I have it on a couple systems I found out when I was looking last night, so I will play it.
It is it is some of the best schlock horror you've ever seen.
It was a game that literally blew my mind when it came out for GameCube, because it was a GameCube exclusive.
For
It came out
for like half a year.
It was the best looking game
But
at the time.
it was.
literally the best looking game.
I think it came out in a January, if I remember right. And
Yeah, January.
I remember when I played it, I'm like, I know it's only
2005.
January, but this is my game of the year. There's no way anything's going to top this. And some would say it's the pinnacle. I would say it is, but also maybe the beginning of the downward slide of Capcom saying like, "Ooh, they really like this over-the-shoulder action, so we should make the next one just completely action-based."
Because you could take the first trilogy, and it's very much tank controls, and they're just refining that.
They all go together, yeah.
And then 4, 5, and 6. 4 was so hot that 5 became more action-oriented, and then 6 became a Michael Bay film.
What the fuck? Yeah.
And it even makes as much sense as most Michael Bay films. 7,
Yeah.
I think 7 is very brilliant, and I think it takes what was
my second.
I like that they take chances. When somebody
Yes.
says, I don't like the tank controls, they listen and go, okay, how about an over the booty shooty? Okay.
over the booty shooting.
Over the booty.
Look at the booty shooty.
somebody
so it's just on the back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Somebody
third-person
stepped
shooter.
in and said, "Guys, 6, no."
This was not the direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to fucking come
And then they
together.
know
turned
what's
it into
scary
a
is-
first-person video game.
Chris
So-
Redfield riding a motorcycle, jumping over explosions and punching rocks is not Resident Evil.
We'll talk about Resident Evil 6, and I do like the game. So,
I didn't mind it.
But I think 7 really takes what was right about the first 3 games.
Yeah.
Exploring an atmospheric setting, preferably a small house with like some few ancillary locations.
return to the close quarters.
It's not about tons of gameplay for 7 and what Village looks like it's going to be. It's about setting the tone, setting the mood, and puzzles and just like unlocking things. It's not about arcadey gun shooty, which 4 does great, and that's where they were going for a while, but they really backed away from that with 7 and 8.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, looks like it's backing away from that quite a bit too.
Well, the exploration in 7, I think, is the grand achievement of the entire thing, like you were saying. I would almost call it a Metroidvania in the way that it works.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Because of just the way that you find things scattered, and it makes you feel very intelligent.
I think that's why I like these games so much.
They
It's
make-
like, I
yeah.
remember I found this thing and now I remember where that goes.
There was a sword-shaped hole.
I put this fake shotgun in the hands of this guy so I can take the real shotgun, and now I have a shotgun.
Yeah.
Like, it's stuff like that, and
super simple, but it does make you feel like the smartest person alive.
And the apotheosis of this is a section in the game which I won't spoil in terms of story, but it is literally a maze of traps, essentially.
Which one are we talking about?
Seven.
Okay.
It's a maze of traps and like weird things that you really have to pay attention to what's going on all around you. And what I found the most interesting is how that section could have just been an entire game on its own. I was just like, item management. Everywhere you went around, you're like, I'm out of everything. I don't know what to do. And suddenly like, oh, there are like 7 bullets here.
Oh, I have all these.
Oh, I had some of these.
For everyone that's listening, I just threw down this 6 of the 7 Resident Evil novellas that I read as a kid. I don't have the 7th one, which is
I read
0.
I had
shape,
this
man.
one. I had this one.
Oh,
I had
man, between the two
this
of us,
one.
we'd have the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had these.
So these
Holy
are
shit.
novelizations of 1, 2, 3, and Veronica. What is interesting is that 2 and 4, Caliban Cove and Underworld, are offshoots where they kind of have to write it as a game. Where they're trying, because what they're having to do with these novelizations is describe in-game events.
like the puzzles and everything.
And like, I remember a sword-shaped hole with that crest.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
going
Put
back
Jewel in
over
the
to
leopard.
that part.
Yeah.
And but I remember having read all of these probably twice. I didn't get the 7th one. I don't know why, but I still have these novellas. Sure.
Hell yeah. So do I at my parents' place, but did you get them at Borders?
I don't remember.
That's
Dude,
where
that's
that's where
awesome.
I got
Barnes
all
and
mine.
Noble for me.
Yeah.
We should make just an audio book podcast.
Dylan
Just
reads
read these.
Resident Evil.
I would. I'm not a great orator, but I would try.
I mean, you said you wanted to be a voice actor, man.
Yeah,
Now's
this would be the great
time.
project.
And I'm Claire Redfield.
7's great. That was a true, like, doing something different, but also feeling like it returned to form. And it had been a while since I played a game that just had that atmosphere that really just creeped me out. The whole thing with the wife cutting off the hands and whatever
The
happened.
sequence where you're trying to help her break out, and then she goes crazy, and then she comes back.
Yes.
It's so brilliant.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like in this one they're finally going to get the facial animations completely right.
Yeah.
Because even as I played it with other people, they were like, something is really wrong with Mia's face. Like they almost didn't have model differences between like the kind of fucked up characters and the normal characters. Even in like, it's just the way their like eyes move and how they smile.
It's too obvious of a turn.
Yeah. And especially in that opening scene where you're at a computer and you watch her be like, "Hi baby. I'm here on vacation. I'm babysitting. I'll be back later." Mwah."
How great in 7 was it that you don't see Chris Redfield, you don't see Jill Valentine, you don't see fucking anything.
It's basically not a Resident Evil
Well, you
game.
see Chris at the end.
not at the beginning, but you're just this guy named Ethan trying to find his lady, dropped off. It's like you're just at some mansion and shit gets way out of control. It's so like a good start to a horror film.
It's like
It is-
Deliverance.
And
It's Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. You get mad vibes of that crazy family that's just trying to cook everyone into chili.
I even read an interview somewhere where they heard about what Ed Gein's house looked like when they finally barged in and they saw like all the grease on the floor and shit like that.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right. Keeping it
I'm a
local.
huge. So I'm a huge.
We're a Milwaukee podcast. Right.
I have.
We are the murder podcast.
I'm actually an Ed Gein buff, so that actually like resonated with me pretty hard. If you want to read the, never mind. But no, what I found the most interesting was just how they played, how first person plays with the environment so much better than it does with the other ones, because the only way you can really scare someone when you have these pre-rendered backgrounds and images is you hearing something and it shuffling into frame.
Oh, dude, you're gonna lose your
Or the
shit
jump.
when you have the headphones in your VR.
For the
shit,
VR?
man. Like
Yeah.
when at the very beginning when
playing it
when
tomorrow.
she disappears and you're going down the stairs and all you hear inside of your ear holes is,
Yeah.
and you're like,
Oh, the crawling.
and you're like,
It's
Oh, I'm
different-
not.
it's
I'm not
different.
going down there. I'm not going down there. I know what's about to happen here.
Yeah.
But you have to.
But I mean,
I'm gonna be
going back.
No, yeah, dude, I'm telling you, you're
It got
gonna
to
lose your shit.
It got to the point with 7 where I would
couldn't
take the headset off and read a strategy guide for like the next 2 paragraphs. I'm like, okay, put it back on and just go right to that spot, right to that spot. And it was
Strategy
still
guide on Tetris just
it
to
was
get out of your
still
head.
too much. Like it
Nah,
was still too
bet.
scary
Can
for me
you
to
turn off the
finish.
head bob?
I didn't get
I
a lot.
think,
You don't
I
get
think
head
your
bob.
head is the head bob.
Yeah, you won't get head bob. You're just gonna see
As
what
long
like.
as you're not doing this,
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's your
Can
eyes.
you turn off
straight
your
on,
head
yeah.
bob?
It's
Good, because
fucking
that's something I can't.
unreal.
I wouldn't be able to handle that part.
Yeah, speaking of scares, going back to the first game, I know that was the first time that I had ever jumped or was actually had an emotional reaction to a game. Like,
Was it the dogs?
It was the dogs. Yeah,
We're talking about Resident Evil 1.
Resident Evil 1.
Oh, that was
you were
very
16
scary.
and you had to sleep with your mom and dad again?
Yeah. Well,
We
I
we
did that
didn't really
anyways,
go
but-
over my like how I got into the
Yeah,
Resident
sorry,
Evil.
Dom.
No, that's totally. It's basically
yeah,
an
I mean,
amalgamation.
you're moving,
I'm sorry,
so
no,
fuck
I-
off.
No,
Sorry,
it's
yeah.
basically an amalgamation of Dylan and Brad's, where a friend of mine, we went to go get Luigi's Mansion, and he
Whoops.
and
Luigi's
he,
Mansion.
The wrong disc in the case.
He saw Resident Evil, and I only had enough money for one. And he was like, "Dude, you have to buy this game because I used to have it, and it's great."
He was right.
And we played it. We did the same thing. We locked ourselves in my closet. Like, we set up my TV because it was only one of those like 10-inch,
Yeah.
like Zeniths.
Built-in
And
VCR.
Yep. And we like hung out in our closet because it was light outside. And his name's Lorenzo. If you're listening, what's up, dude?
Love your oil.
Enzo, baby.
And it was pretty much right when you start the game as Jill, you walk in, you see the zombie eating
Yep.
one of the
cutscene.
star guys, and then you go through the next door, and the crows are like in that cage and they fly out the
Yes.
window. At that point, I was like, "Nah, dude, you play now." And he was like, "Okay," and he just like went after it. And you walk up the stairs, and then you see your first zombie just laying on the ground. And of
Yep.
course, what he remembered from the game playing was when you walk over those zombies that are on the floor, they get up. So he was like, "Oh no, I can't."
Sure.
But he walked over it and it didn't get up, and he was like, "Huh, that's weird." And then you play like another couple
Yep.
hours and go back to that same room to unlock something.
Did you have the director's cut
And
or
it
the?
comes and it pops up and he's like, "Oh fuck, this is what I was talking about." And like,
You just
we didn't
have to
any
get good at running
bullets.
around them.
Yeah.
Well, and they get away with slow zombies being so terrifying in this, partially because the tank controls are so fucking
Oh, yeah.
frustrating. It's part almost to like why Castlevania has an element of terror, because when you jump, you've
You
jumped.
committed. Yes.
You're committed.
You're committed.
And there's when you're trying to run away from the dog that jumped through the window and made you shit your pants and spill your beer. You still have to figure out how to run around a corner, and the camera
Switch the-
changes.
Yes, and switch the controls. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. If without the tank controls, the fright factor definitely goes down.
Well,
And just in even shooting, I played the Resident Evil remake last night. I think it was PS5 or the Xbox Series X one, Series X1, Series X. But just
confused.
with the way the camera is set up, and it's the camera doesn't move, you think you're looking at the zombie, and you can like aim up or aim down, but there's not a lot of finesse to it. You got to kind of like barely tilt your controller and hope you're getting a headshot.
Right.
It's very not consistent, and there's no way to be for sure what you're aiming at. And
you're a special. To be honest, if you were just some if your character was just some random person, I'd be like, okay, but you're like special ops. And that is that's a part that kind of takes me out of it. It's just like how do gun work?
Right.
Like
imagine you're getting
playing.
chased by you're getting chased by someone. You stop, turn around, quit running, and just like try and aim.
Right. Why do you pivot like that, Chris? What the hell, man?
They trained us in school like that.
it's called
okay?
form, Jill.
Oh man.
We're gonna open. We're having another beer. I already opened it and poured it. This is from Eureka Heights Brewing. This is called Snork Juice. It's a long boil barley wine, and this is
was my choice.
guaranteed to get me drunk
Was it?
because it's 13%.
13%.
Oh my God. Okay.
Oh wow.
Great.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah. Game on.
And Josh would be able to tell us what a long
And
boil means.
does it taste like a snork?
I already feel drunk after just sipping on this one.
Smells
Having
good.
not
Smells good.
Really good.
drank for a whole month.
I've only ever had one other barley wine one, and that's why I was trying to did wine. That's why I wanted this.
Big mouthfeel.
Yes. Lots of mouthfeels. Doesn't taste strong, but feels strong. Does that compute?
There's almost like a pepper, like a rich coriander pepper undertone. I would describe it as spiceful.
Welcome back, babies.
Not spicy.
I would describe it as Brad's got to drive home through the snow.
Yeah.
That's
think
actually
that-
very good.
Their logo here, I'm sure Ryan will appreciate this, but their logo here kind of looks like the grocery store H-E-B, which is like a Texas chain that my girlfriend Sarah, who's from San Antonio, will not shut the fuck up about.
Yeah.
When I went to San Antonio for the first time, she was
San
like,
Antonio.
we're going to take you to HEB. And I was like, okay, cool. And you're going to love it. You're going to love it so much. Me thinking that it's this like amusement park. And then we pull up to it and it's a fucking grocery store. And I was like, what the fuck is this? This is a grocery store. And she's like, it's not just a grocery store. So Ryan, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Jeez.
But this beer's delicious. Thanks
It's
again.
very good.
Allie has the same thing with a few Minnesota ones, and she's like, it's a grocery store, but they've got carpet.
Well, as someone who came from many other spots that weren't Wisconsin before I moved here, it's the same thing with Quick Trip, where I'm like, it's just a gas station.
I love Quick Trip,
but
though.
then you go
Quick
to
Trip
a
with a
few
Q?
times. No, with a K.
Okay.
But then you go to Quick Trip like a few times, you're like, oh.
Yes.
And I know that Sarah's from Texas, so when I told you which beer would you like to drink on this, I was like, I bet he might have the DL on maybe some breweries down there. But if you didn't have a chance to talk to Sarah, then you might not.
No, but I told her, and she was like, cool, yeah, I like Resident Evil 2. And I was like, what? She's like, I have no idea what Resident Evil is. But I'll
speaking
go
of
for the
Resident
beer.
Evil 2, did you guys ever...
Nice. That was beautiful.
Thank you. I don't know where to go with this, but sorry. Did you guys ever play Leon S. Kennedy's and Claire Redfield's debut in the original Resident Evil 2?
I played it on the N64.
Only the DualShock version.
This was my... So I have Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 all for the GameCube.
Okay.
And
Which were expensive fucking ports. When they
And now they're worth a lot of money.
But sorry,
3
are they?
especially. Nemesis is worth a ton of cash for that port.
Really?
It's hyper
Oh, I
expensive.
have like... It's on the...
I
It's
know.
a disc.
That's what I'm
Sorry to
saying.
interrupt. As
No,
you were
no,
saying.
that's fine.
Just
I had
keep
no
'em.
idea.
Just keep them.
Yeah, they're...
They're in good condition.
To the moon.
Right, yeah. Hold on to them.
I
I'm gonna
hope- yeah, I
I'm gonna
hope-
short squeeze those
they're in
fucking
my,
discs, man.
They're in my GameCube box in my parents'
I'm so
garage,
glad-
so I
I'm
hope they
so-
haven't gotten rid of it.
I'm so glad I was able to tell you because those are in high demand too. So you're good.
Well,
You
I've
have
got
the
it.
1 through 3.
Yeah, and when we were on Would You Rather, the episode Would You Rather, one of the questions was, would you rather something or have play your favorite video game for the first time?
Yes.
And I was like, I kind of am spoiled because I have. Resident Evil 2 is my favorite of the franchise, not the remake, like the original.
Yeah.
And even though it's like that weird polygonal thing, but when I was replaying the remake, I jumped right in. I haven't played that game in forever, but I had played it so many times that I was
Right.
like, I know exactly where everything is. I know exactly which keys I need to get to unlock. It was such a good remake, especially because they changed it to that Resident Evil 4 style
booty
of play.
shooty.
Yeah, look at the booty shooty. Look at it.
Yeah.
Look at
Just
that.
look
booty.
at it.
I like that.
Look at it. Yeah, like the original PlayStation 1. The fact that it was on 2 discs was pretty cool. Each disc was a different character. You know, you thought you were getting like double your money. And like,
I didn't know the first one was on 2 discs.
one. You had
First
the Leon
one's on
disc
2 discs.
and the Claire disc.
It was all of those live action cutscenes.
Yeah, no, not for 2.
Fab FMVs. Yeah.
Yeah, but they cleaned up. They were getting better at doing the pre-rendered backgrounds, put a little more animation in the backgrounds, and then they cleaned up the polygon models of the characters for Resident Evil 2, and the gore definitely seemed a little more realistic. But I loved Resident Evil 2 for the OG PlayStation. That was probably my favorite Resident Evil up until, I don't know, Code Veronica. I guess up to that.
You
point.
liked Code Veronica.
I did.
That's
one's
kind of a
very
polarizing
twisty.
game.
That was supposed to be 4.
Yeah.
No, it was supposed to be 3.
No, it was supposed to be 3 because 3 was supposed to be like a guide and
it
like
was-
a side story.
Yes.
It was supposed to be like a DLC-esque thing,
Kinda.
right before DLC was the thing.
They call them like Gaiden because 3 takes place at the same time as 2, and they knew it was a shorter experience already.
Yeah.
So they were gonna sell it as like are you a fan of this? Well, here's one of a fan favorite character doing something during the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
That would have been a DLC back then if it was possible.
yeah.
If they could have,
And
they
I think
would have.
Capcom, I think there was some kind of contractual obligation
Yeah.
that they needed to put
I
a
believe you're
third
right.
one out on PlayStation. They're just like, fuck, okay, this one's going to be 3, I guess, and then we're just going to rename Code Veronica, I guess. But speaking of Resident Evil 3, this is probably one of the, up until the remake, probably one of the least played in the main series. Did any of you guys actually play the original 3?
The one that I have for GameCube.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Yeah, what were your thoughts on that?
I mean, I thought it was great because they added that nemesis aspect where he's just like he
Jill
just pops
Valentine,
in and you can't kill him, and he's just chasing after you, and you have to get good at running away.
It's a great addition to the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's a shame that it's really short, but it's even more of a shame that the remake is even somehow shorter than that.
Did you finish the remake?
I haven't played it because I heard it's only like a 2-hour game.
It's still worth playing. I
don't know if it's worth $60.
Oh,
No, you can get Resident Evil 2 and 3, I think, for $30 right now. I think they're for sale together for $30 altogether.
They are pairing them now, especially on the computer.
I
don't know about the consoles.
Yeah, and especially after hearing how much people are raving about the 2 remake, I might need to pick that up.
You can.
Oh, absolutely.
Jamie has
Brad,
it right now if you want to borrow it.
Yeah, I might need
Brad,
to.
I would highly recommend.
There was a lot of
Yeah,
people's
when you-
games of the year, so I
I second
definitely
that.
want to give it a try.
It's fantastic.
Dylan, 3. Did you ever play?
No, I never touched it. Not even the remake.
Okay.
I always wanted to. I always found the character of Nemesis, like when I was a little edgelord kid. I always found he's like tyrant, but he's like bigger, and he's got a rocket launcher, and he's all dressed up.
Yeah.
and he's scary. I'm like, it's the same way I looked at Final Fantasy VII before I played it. I'm like, dude, that guy's got a big ass sword. Look at that fucking sword.
But that guy's sword is longer.
The reason he's chasing after the STARS members makes way more sense in the video games than it does in the movies.
Yeah.
Well, the movies don't make sense.
Correct.
We're going to abandon the movies. We're going to save that for a Halloween Raw Dogs. We're going to have Matt from Better in 3D on for that one.
I will watch all of them at that point. But no, I was always like, my mom never really bought me games, so it was all based on how much I made mowing lawns or like babysitting kids. So I didn't play a lot of games, and I just got to have the cool, like, I looked through Game Informer, and I guess I've got a good idea what this is.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether it was because it came so close after, Resident Evil 2, or if it just looked like it didn't evolve that much, or maybe the fact that they put Jill Valentine in like a fucking
The
lime green
outfit was
tube
weird.
top
The outfit
and
felt
mini
weird.
skirt,
but it's so
90s
hot.
as fuck. Yeah, I mean, come on, it's
hot.
not.
It was hot, but not practical.
No. And then I looked the other day. I'm like, oh, I have this
If
for
your titties
Dreamcast.
drop
I didn't
out,
even
it
know I had
distracts them.
Yeah.
Oh, boobs.
But
Doesn't it start out in a bar? I mean,
No, it starts off, I watched a playthrough of this.
she's
I
just
have not
having a
played
good
it, though.
time.
I don't know.
You just have
One
to fight zombies
they did
in the outfit you're
for the
wearing.
remake. They did make her a lot more grizzled, and
as she should be, because she just came out of like the first game.
It doesn't reach the heights of Resident Evil 2, the remake, and it's about half as long because there's not an extra character to play. But it's still worth playing. That last encounter, like just the power fantasy.
I hear it's more
The
on.
power
I
trip
hear
is
it's
good.
more like hallway based. I hear it's just. I hear
It's
there's
more
not a lot
action
of-
oriented.
Yeah, so
and
I
dodging.
hear. Well, I hear the main difference is that you're not re-exploring the same spaces. You're kind of moving through more different spaces.
Kind of, yes, but it does have callback because it happens in the same time frame as Resident Evil 2.
I saw
or
the gun
just
shop.
before.
The gun shop
It's-
owner.
yeah,
Yep.
it's
So you'll encounter
like-
characters
Okay.
in Resident Evil 2. Who
That's
are
why
in Resident
that's
Evil
why I
3.
call it Guy Den. Yeah,
Yes.
that
Something
makes
that
sense.
they were really great at least early on, was Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, same locations, 2 separate campaigns that are very similar but a little different. You have different characters. 3, they stepped away from that. And then 4, there was like, I know you could play as some of the other characters for a while, but I think it was great that the way they were able to take stories that are kind of on parallel tracks and they intersect. They do it with 0 a little bit, actually quite a bit too.
Okay, yeah.
But they definitely shied away from that. And 3 is Jill Valentine in a very short story.
Yes.
Code Veronica, you only play as one character, right?
Claire.
Is it Claire or
Do you
Jill?
play as
It's Claire.
Chris at all?
It's Claire because I think you do it towards the end of it.
Yeah.
But it's not for the majority of the game. The majority of the game is Claire trying to find Chris.
Right.
And then she gets word that he got captured and taken to an island. This is just from memory. I don't know.
It's been a long
This
time.
sounds
Yeah,
right.
and then she gets captured on purpose to go to that island.
Code Veronica is when they take the story and they find the shark and they jump over it 10 times.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, we're going way the fuck out there. They're like,
Yeah.
30 years ago, there's a scientist who found a flower.
Yeah.
And this flower
There's
was a
a-
mold
that.
species. Like, they get crazy.
Real way of the warrior with it.
Yes. Yeah. But this is the first one that went full 3D.
And on that mountain, there was a monk. And
I wish every game had that Way of the Warrior intro that described the entire plot.
Yep.
Yeah,
If Star Wars opened up with that instead of a crawl, I'd be very happy.
I remember playing Code Veronica and being like, I love this because of how bonkers it is.
It's
there's the
it
guy,
leans into schlock.
Yeah, where there's a guy, there's the twins who are just like insane.
Oh, God.
And then you
Alexis,
find out that
yeah.
that it's just one dude pretending to be his sister. It's weird.
It's weird, but I fucking ate it up, especially having like a brand new next gen system, you know, the Dreamcast, and it being like I said, the first 3D, everything was in 3D, and I thought it looked fantastic. I thought it played great for the time, and yeah, I want to go back and play this. I hope
like
they do a remake
the
of this.
tank
actually.
controls in this one were a little bit more manageable too.
I think so, yeah. Plus, you had I had the Dreamcast. The VMU actually had your life on it, so you could tell.
From what I remember, when you're walking down a hallway, instead of it changing angles, it kind of like follows you and up.
Okay, yeah.
And like backs itself into a corner so that you can just kind of
It could
keep
be.
your. So I think that's why the tank controls were a little bit more manageable. It
Yeah.
still had like that you can't see around the corner, and right when you walk up to it, like a zombie pops out, you know, for scare tactics and all that.
Right.
But I do remember enjoying that one quite a bit.
Yeah, and and at the time I didn't know that this was supposed to be Resident Evil 3. So at the time I thought like, oh, this is some side story, and thinking like, wow, they put a lot into this for a side story, you know. And then so it made a lot of sense later when that came out. Like, no, sorry, that was actually supposed to be the actual sequel.
At this point, there were a couple of offshoots. The Survivor series were light gun games for the PlayStation and PlayStation 2. There was 4 of them, although the third one is a Dino
there
Crisis
4?
game. There was Survivor 1, Survivor 2, Code Veronica, which is canon because Claire has a dream on the way to the island, and she dreams the entire plot of Survivor 2.
Eric Dallas.
Survivor 3 is a Dino Crisis game, and then Survivor 4 is technically Resident Evil Dead Aim. They're light gun games. They're first person. They're fine.
Rail
Are these
shooters.
all the rail shooters? Okay.
Yeah.
And
I
they're
played a
okay.
couple
Most
of
light
them on
gun
the
games
Wii.
are, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there was also Resident Evil Gaiden for the Game Boy Color. Not canon,
Almost bought it.
but
It's
it looks
worth a lot of money.
fine. Like it looks like
Yeah.
a fine game, kind of like Metal Gear Solid for or Metal Gear for the NES.
Yeah.
Kind of
Okay.
looks like that. Then they entered the remake for the GameCube, and then they got the little like GameCube love affair going. After the original remake, Resident Evil 0 hit, which I remember reading so much about in game magazines.
Me too.
Yes. I was kind of like,
I might
really?
have,
And it takes place on a train.
And
Little
you're a-
did I know
you're a
that it would
criminal?
just suck so bad.
And
Yeah.
but
You didn't
instead,
like it?
instead of
A lot of people didn't like
Oh, I
parallel
loved it.
campaigns that kind of never interact, you actually switch between characters in Zero, if I'm not mistaken.
I got
Either
this.
Billy or
Yeah.
your,
Yeah,
Rebecca
you
Chambers.
You like
Rebecca.
crawl through a vent or something, and then you have to be the other character.
I fell off of it.
Yeah.
This is probably the only Resident Evil that I just fell off of, and really quickly.
I rented it because in Game Informer they said that it was a short experience.
Okay. Did you finish it? Like, is it worth? Okay. I don't
I
know
had
if it's
it.
worth.
I had
I-
it for a
I
night, and I got
remember.
the flu. Actually, I remember it very specifically
shit,
because
yeah.
I remember feeling very
Was it
tired. And the
T-virus?
next morning, I woke up and I'm like, I can barely move.
This was the last tank control Resident Evil game that they
Yeah.
made.
So, Dom, you played it to
I
completion?
played it to completion. I didn't have any trouble getting into it, but I think
Yeah.
at this point I was like a huge fanboy, so I was like, I'm going to see how this ends. I got to
Yeah.
figure out who the fuck is Wesker at this point, right? Because he just keeps like.
He's like Palpatine.
He's like fucking. He's like Tom
Duke
Cruise and
Nukem,
all these.
yeah.
He's not roguey enough, apparently. So they have to keep
No.
bouncing him around.
He becomes kind of that one character that you need to, whatever move you need to make to get a story to happen, just put Wesker
yeah.
over to there because he
Yeah.
becomes a triple, like quadruple agent. And if it'd just be fun to just follow his through line to describe the series because it's fucking
my
bonkers.
Yeah.
And Resident Evil 0, from what I remember, was supposed to be a pretty good game.
Yeah, it ends weird it ends very like in a Japanese way of like, I'm pretty sure.
Your Wesker is another castle.
Well, Billy, who's this ex-convict,
Right.
who's on the like
He's on the train.
because he did some war crimes, which I was like, well, then why is he in trouble? Because he obviously got asked to do those things, right? But I guess that's how it works in Resident
How dare you
Evil.
follow orders?
Yeah. So he's on this train because he's arrested, being escorted by military police who
Right.
then die. He teams up with her, and then by the end of it, she's like, I'm just gonna tell people that I saw you die, and then he goes, cool, and then she walks off into the sunset, and he puts it while she's not looking at him.
Oh no.
He just is looking at her walk away and just like gives her a thumbs up. And then it rolls credits.
And then she walks off into the sunset into a mansion and gets trapped until
She walks over to the I can't remember
Redfield
why
shows
she's
up.
like, that looks like a good place to go after
that
all
mansion
this
looks
shit."
like it might have a phone.
Outside of
Right.
outside of Code Veronica, this is one that I'd like for them to remake, so I could actually maybe they can fix some things and.
I don't think.
I would take this over a remake of 4.
You know what I would like?
I would take a
And,
remake of 4.
Instead of going with the same remakes as 2 and 3, remake Resident Evil 1 in the style of Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
Oh,
Even
that
make it
would be
VR.
great.
That would be perfect in my opinion. But after 0, there was a very odd couple of PS2 games which I'm curious if anyone touched. Resident Evil Outbreak was a up to 4-player cooperative experience for Resident Evil, and you could play it online. So you
On the PS2,
played it,
yeah.
Dom.
I played it. I never played it online.
Yeah.
I remember it being interesting because you're playing as these like just basic citizens of Racoon City.
Yeah.
And I remember you go to a zoo and there's like an elephant that has the virus who's chasing after you.
Because there's different levels where you kind of end up replaying the same levels quite a bit.
Yeah, well, they take some of the things from the previous games and they're like, hey, Easter egg, look, you're in that same area. But
Okay.
then you kind of like go off on your own path.
Is it a full experience? I mean, so narrative. Like
Not really. I
think it's
mean,
kinda like
you're playing
Left
as
4
a
Dead.
lot of different
Okay.
characters.
Like Left 4 Dead isn't really a narrative experience. It's just isolated different levels where
Yeah.
they have kind of maybe a single story that happens there, but it's mostly about the gameplay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But it's the same, like, find an item, but not as, like, good as the previous games. It's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah, I have a vague recollection of this,
Yeah.
and
I just remember
I remember the
everything
modem
being on
or-
fire, and that's pretty much it.
I remember being so excited and reading about it, and then not much came from it. Some people were playing it, but there wasn't like solid reviews that were saying you should definitely go out there and get this.
Yeah. All I remember is, like, everyone's on a bridge, and they blow it up while everyone's on the bridge. They might all be zombies,
Yeah.
but I can't remember.
Yeah.
And then a game called Resident Evil 4 happened, and everyone collectively freaked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was
In a good way.
This was insane. This game went through a lot of development crap, though. The first Devil May Cry was supposed to be Resident Evil 4 at one point,
That's right.
and
No kidding.
did you not know that?
I didn't know that.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it came out of.
Wow.
Hideki Kamiya actually took over, and because they were saying that like there's too many supernatural elements, this is getting a little too weird. Then they made it because if you play the first Devil May Cry, the camera angles are fucking
Oh, yeah.
Resident Evil.
That's the
camera
first thing I thought
angles.
when I booted that game up. I'm like, is this Resident Evil?
And there's
You're
the
in a
same,
castle, you
there
know,
are,
like-
there are puzzles too, the same
Yeah.
type of puzzles,
Yeah.
just as confusing and obtuse. It went through a lot of iterations, and then they said, like, listen, we've really got to reinvent this thing. Nobody was feeling the creative juices, and they decided to make
Yep.
one of the first over-the-shoulder games.
Really was, yeah. Yeah.
That's true. Like, and I think, and obviously, I fell in love with this game. I didn't get a lot of games during this era until I got a job, which is just after the GameCube era. And this game, I played it, I'm going to say probably 15 times over.
Did he really? I believe it.
Well,
Yeah.
there were some of those times were with the Chicago typewriter, which was like the
Oh,
automatic
yes.
weapon that had near infinite ammo or something like that.
buying?
I'd just be like, this, please. And then the game's really easy, and you can kind of just get all the hints and secrets. But I love this game. I love Salazar, the little
Oh God.
Napoleon.
the
is-
little
Napoleon,
person.
yeah. And his big robot.
I like how it like builds on these. Like everything is a different environment, even when it looks a bit the same.
I think this was the first game that like you choose to do something and it affects the game later on as well. So there's like that bit where you save the dog from the bear trap.
yes.
Well, there weren't that
And then-
many of those.
Right, but
I know-
I remember
yeah.
that being like, oh, that's that fucking dog
Yeah.
I saved.
And he saves you from the El Gigante for
Yeah.
a second. Yeah.
I remember that being like a really cool aspect of that game.
Yeah.
Because I had never seen that before.
It was, it was great, and it was like the first game that really had living characters, even though they were infected with the Las Plagas, where you go into the village and you're like, okay, something's not right here.
Fast zombies, talking zombies.
Right. Yeah. Like,
I think that was one of the things that initially kind of turned me away from the game. I'm like, this isn't Resident Evil.
But it so much is like it.
I was a child.
We were like 15, Bradley.
but it said it on the box.
I didn't mature fast. It happened
was
last
still
year.
wearing-
Yeah, I've seen you naked.
I was still wearing diapers.
All right, Brad, what are we drinking here?
This is the last beer from Ryan for the night. This is
Yes.
the Hot Stove Porter from Texas Leaguer Brewing Company out of Missouri City, Texas. That ain't confusing. Yeah. Hot Stove Porter's got a baseball guy on it. Looks nice.
Right on.
A baseball guy.
I've been going through kind of a porter phase.
Oh, it smells good.
That
Very
is
roasty.
That is a porter.
I like it.
It's rich and
I enjoy it.
it's coffee-like. It's nice.
Resident Evil 4, the fact that it was a GameCube exclusive. I know we talked about it a little earlier.
As a GameCube kid, I'm like, they're doing something for me?
Yeah,
It was
and it was hard
exclusive.
because I wanted to tell my friends all about it, and I did, but they couldn't buy it because they all had PS2s. You know, I'm like, you don't understand.
6 months later, PS2, and then of course later Windows, Wii, iOS, PS3, Xbox 360, Android, Wii U, PS4, Xbox One, Switch.
Yeah, they know
And then I
about
put
this.
another one, Zebo ? Because it was on the Zebo. Apparently, I don't know what that
know what
is.
the fuck that is either.
But it got a Zebo port.
Is
Must
that
be like a
and
Chinese
also,
game.
Resident
it must
Evil-
be a Chinese system.
Resident Evil 2 had a Gamecom port. Just so everyone
Yes.
knows.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, for my money, the Wii version is the best.
That's what I've heard. Because like
Wii U?
the aiming mechanics.
Wii.
we?
But the Wii U
heard
has
that Wii.
the Wii U has the Wii edition though.
You can
On the verge.
No, but it's still
emulated?
going. It's not. It's not the Wii.
I think
there's no Wii U version. Is there?
No, there's a Wii U release, but it's the Wii edition, I believe.
Yeah, maybe upscaled or something.
I think it's upscale, but I think you're still able to use the same shooting mechanics.
Okay,
which is
Because
why
that,
you
that
want
was
that.
that is
Just
the
put in your
part.
GameCube disc, man. Just play it.
Honestly, no.
There's
no.
No, I know you. No, I know. Okay, don't worry.
Honestly, it is the best version though. Like pound for pound, I know a lot of people who agree with that, which makes me feel less like a weirdo because I bought
heard that, yeah.
I bought a lot of Wii titles right away because
Fuck yeah.
there was nothing else.
Raving Rabbids, man.
Excite Truck, y'all remember
Why not?
Excite Truck?
Is that a
Very
sequel
good.
to Excite Bike?
Excite Bike was awesome.
It is actually.
No
Yeah.
shit.
It is, yeah. It's called Excite Truck and it handles very well.
I had a lot of fun with the briefcase Tetris in this game. The like item management.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the fact that they're bringing that back for Resident Evil 8 is pretty cool.
Okay.
I think they did that in 7 though too. Did they?
I don't think so. I think you just
I think they all have. I mean, that's a staple of Resident Evil, right?
I'm pretty sure
I mean,
7 has.
We haven't really. That's one aspect we really haven't talked about
Right.
is the whole
The
inventory
attaché.
management.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where
Oh god.
someone could say Resident Evil is first and foremost a inventory management game with a horror game around it. Mm-hmm. So
well,
Well,
that's
I mean,
that's half the pressure.
One of the biggest problems is you have a pistol with such limited ammo, and granted you can't shoot well in a lot of the early games. If you miss 3 shots, that really hurts.
yeah,
And it's easy to miss 3 shots.
or fucking all the herbs. I
need
get
it-
the red herb. Great.
Turn
I
it-
gotta find the fucking green
Bradley, it's time for bed. I don't have a fucking ink ribbon. What do you want me to do?
one. Yeah.
I need to find a fucking typewriter.
What? Okay, Brad.
Yes. Yeah.
I need to find the ribbons for it first.
So when they went away with the ribbon thing, I was kind of
I was so
happy
fine with
about
it.
that. Yeah. Like,
It does
thank
tell you how many times you saved though, which I wanted to seem cool to no one because no one would have given a shit anyway. But there was a part of me that's just like,
Just
if I
have
save
one
too much,
save.
I'm going to look like a wussy.
I mean, talk about amp up the tension when you didn't have an ink ribbon,
Right.
And it was like time to go somewhere.
It's
or
an
you needed to
interesting,
save.
interesting system of progressing further, and how often do you want to save? Because if you save too much, you will lose that opportunity.
Right.
It's
Do I save it? Do I use it now? Do I not?
it's good for a horror game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But thank you for taking it out.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
If you play the very hard like new game version of Resident Evil 7, they put ink ribbons back in the game.
Oh, do they?
Yep.
Okay.
That
It's
like
I think
that
it's Madhouse difficulty or something.
I tried it once. It is enemies are bullet sponges, and to me that like if I shoot something in the head, it's gotta kind of put it down.
Even if you're a zombie, you might get 2 or 3 shots, but your motor functions are inside the brain. If that's severed, if that's not working, that's it.
It's done. It's over. Like if I put one like right between the eyes, your eyes can't see things properly. At least have it so that like they have to be like, oh, before I regenerate, oh crap, I can't find anything. Like
So you're just striving for realism in your horror zombie video game is what you prefer.
I don't even consider it a zombie video game though. Let's like to be clear.
Are we going to go into what's a zombie?
We could.
Nah.
Mutants, biomutants. I consider it more of like a biomutant thing, not the new game that's coming out.
Remember
called
the
Biomutant.
the liquor? It's just like a brain on the man with a long tongue.
Fucking
And
liquor,
even though
man.
you shoot it in the
Tom's
head,
got posters
nothing
of that
happens to
hanging
it.
above
I do.
his head.
Yep. I was like, do I put a mirror above my bed or just like a life-size version of the liquor? And
With your
liquor
head
won.
photoshopped on.
Right.
Do you actually
I
have
opted
one
for
in
both.
there?
It was just aspirational.
No.
Oh,
It was just
I'm not that fucked
I
up.
mean, look at this beam, man. You could easily have one hanging on there. I don't know.
It's true, man.
Okay, because Resident Evil has your regular zombies, they have dog zombies, shark zombies, and elephant zombies,
spiders. They have
plants.
and then they have lickers, tyrants, nemesis.
Yeah.
There's like a plant bad guy.
There's
and
a fucking plant.
Oh yeah,
and it wasn't Seymour. It was Audrey too. Yeah.
There's several plant zombie things in the franchise.
And
They
Seven's
hate
got
fire.
the mold.
They hate
Mold. I don't like the moldy guys, like which are the walking.
The hulking
from
masses,
7, the
yeah.
masses.
Yes. Yeah.
What about 5 and 6?
So,
I like 5.
I do
A
too.
little racist, but
yeah, I think
I got tired of killing indigenous African people.
Yeah.
5 for me is one that I just don't have many thoughts on. It just
I
seemed
like the
one note.
cooperative aspect
Yes.
of it. That's what
Yeah.
really got me.
I
into
want to
it.
play it co-op with somebody or replay it.
The
that
fact that was one of the first games that around the time when it came out, I was like, oh, you gotta. I of course got the like collector's edition with like the metal boxing and all that
Steelbook,
shit.
yeah.
And of course a friend of mine would
Criterion
be like, what the fuck game is this? You gotta play it.
Yeah.
This is the first time it's not a single player game. You gotta play it with me.
I mean,
It
beautiful-
makes it that much better too.
beautiful game too. Like
Oh, that game looked fucking insane. In fact, I was playing on a friend's Xbox 360 in the dorm. This game, I played it for 7 hours. It destroyed his power supply.
Nice.
Did it really?
I'm not fucking
Shit.
kidding. He
Damn.
had to send it in because I thought I broke it. And I'm just like, oh, fuck, dude, I'm so sorry. And he's
You
like,
died.
it's fine. And then we sent it in, disc, it didn't come back.
my God.
They didn't send the disc back. They literally it was just like, oh, I guess that's just a fucking loss. Actually, Allie bought it. Allie wanted to play that game.
Nice. I don't. Brad,
I
did
love
you
it.
play
This is
5?
No, I didn't play 4, 5, or 6.
Okay.
I know 5. It's in Africa. It's much brighter. It seems like it's following in 4's footsteps. The zombies down in Africa. It seems like they're leaning harder into we're an action movie, not a horror franchise as much.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
is something that I know they came to regret after the next one. I know, but from what I've heard, 5 is not like it's still fondly looked upon. Like people like 5.
Yeah, I had a great time playing it. I like I said, they take risks that sometimes benefit. Going from, like I said, the tank controls to the third-person shooter, and then adding like a co-op aspect where you can help a friend and like kick zombies off of them.
Right.
That's really fun because you can sit there next to your friend and go. They can go, oh fuck.
Did you
I'm
play the
getting
entire
attacked."
thing co-op?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's
that's,
great.
I think that would have definitely
That's the beauty of
increased
having
my
a-
love for that game.
That's the beauty of
Plus-
having a roommate in college.
Plus, as bad shit as these games have been, the end of that game
Your favorite
might be one of the
Yeah.
most bad shit things
That's one of those
of all time.
The ending of this
From a
one
Batshit
in
franchise.
particular, the ending of this one in particular is great because it just keeps ramping up. where
It gets crazy.
It's again, if you haven't played these, spoilers for all this shit.
Sorry if you
you've
haven't
made it this far.
Yeah.
If you made it this far. But Jill makes an appearance after, I think at some point they have like a flashback where she falls off a cliff. I think
Well,
that's
that's
this
Yeah,
reason-
Wesker and her go off a cliff together.
right. And then Wesker, well, so then the hooded figure that's coming after you the entire game, you shoot her in the face and her mask falls off, and it ends up being her with blonde hair. I don't know why they changed her hair because she was wearing a hood the whole time, but whatever. Video games.
Whatever.
But
She's a chick.
she's
You know
being
how they
mind
are.
controlled, and the fact that
It's Ada
she's
Wong.
back after having not been in a video game since 3, you're like, sweet.
Yeah.
She's back, baby.
Well, that's the
And-
reason Chris
Yeah,
was
back,
there, was to
baby.
find Jill.
Right.
Yeah.
So you get her back. You get her back on your side. You fight Wesker. You're on
In a volcano.
You're on a boat. Then you get
never mind.
get
Punching
into
boulders.
an airplane and have some fisticuffs with Wesker on an airplane. You crash land into a lava volcano.
Into a
and
lava.
into a lava
One lava.
volcano. One whole lava. And then
Into a
and then
One
he,
cubic unit of lava.
he punches the virus and gets like overtaken by it. It's like inside of a missile or some shit. I don't fucking know. Video games.
I think so.
Yeah, something like
well,
that.
Resident Evil 6.
12 years ago.
I haven't.
5.
Well, this is all in 5.
This is 5. So this is how 5 ends.
This sounds like the bad shit of 6.
This
But
is
that's
No,
what
this is
leads.
5.
That's
Bad
what
shit is 6,
leads
yeah.
to 6. Yeah. So
Okay.
then you and Shiva, right? Is her name? Both every video game, every Resident Evil end boss always ends with you just rocket launching the fuck out of them. And the fact that you have two characters that you play
It's
as,
really true.
they both like sandwich rocket launch Wesker and just blow him to smithereens. Not dead, probably.
No, I think this is Wesker's official death.
That's his official death. He wasn't in
Right now,
6.
but 8 hasn't come out yet.
for now. Yeah.
He'll
be back.
no,
I-
Wesker is
I only-
Palpatine. He will be back.
He'll
I
be
only
back.
care about my 8-foot-tall MILF queen. That's all I care about in Resident Evil Village.
Turns out it was Wesker the whole time.
Might be.
That's fucking hot,
It
kind
might
of, though,
be.
as long as there's no, like, weenie involved.
But yeah, then
zombies are vampires now. It'll be great.
Then you just like helicopter off into the distance, and you know he says something like it was all worth it. And you're
Right.
Like what?
This Contra style.
Yeah.
Did you see me punch that boulder?
Because I've heard some people compare 5 and 6 to Kojima levels of insanity.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And without
But
maybe
six-
without
less realistic.
without the gravitas,
I would
perhaps.
say out of both of those, 5 has a more consistent tone.
yeah. It
Because 6
it
is like
keep-
5 or 6 separate stories,
It's like
right?
it's like 5
Separate
different games,
campaigns.
4
It's
different
It's
games.
3
in one.
different campaigns, but you're playing as 2 different characters in each one, so it's technically like 6 stories going on at once,
including a Wesker.
and it's the
And-
most over
and
the
Wesker's
top.
son.
Wesker's son.
Wesker Jr.,
And
yeah.
homegirl from 4 makes an appearance, right? Ashley's back.
Her daddy gets capped by Leon. Kind of a
Crazy.
betrayal of his oath.
So
Yeah.
speaking of 6, guys. Or I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
I didn't.
no.
I got it on PS Plus for the PlayStation 3.
oh yeah.
I played like 10 minutes of it, and I said, man, I don't know if this is for me. And then I stopped.
Man, I want to play 6 more than any other game in the series. Because if
I-
it's half as bad as people say or over the top, this sounds very
It's
fun.
not. I don't
It's-
think it's as
no,
bad.
it's-
It needed an
So-
editor,
So the Chris parts,
and it should have been called Resident Evil.
Yeah.
That's
The Chris parts play like 5. The
the Leon campaign.
Leon
is-
stuff kind of plays like 4.
except for the end.
Yeah.
When you face a certain enemy like 8 times.
Yeah.
Like I thought I mean,
And it's not
yeah,
as cool as the Regenerator creature in 4.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's the most Resident Evil.
And then
of them.
Wesker's.
When I said 10 minutes, I meant like 2 or 3 hours.
So
Sure, yeah.
I know that.
I've heard 6 is the longest campaign. It's like
Yes.
21 and a half hours
Oh,
ish from what I heard.
by far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched,
put them all together.
I watched the rest of it, though.
I probably have a fondness for this game in particular because while I was playing it, I was living in China 2 hours away from Hong Kong.
Oh, wow.
And my favorite character in this series is obviously Chris, who is
Yeah.
in Hong Kong
Yes, yeah.
in this video game
yeah.
with, who's he playing with?
He was some dude.
Just some random.
It's just some dude.
Yeah, like
Okay.
his protege or fellow soldier.
But
Yeah.
the entire time I'm playing it on this like jailbroken Xbox that I have,
'Cause you have to.
because I bought the game for like $1.
Yep.
I'm playing it. It's got Chinese subtitles on the bottom. He's in Hong Kong. I'm in Guangzhou, which is 2 hours away. And I'm like, this is great. This is
I was meant to play this
is
game.
full circle. Like my whole life has come together for this moment.
Right.
And I just had a great time.
Yeah.
It was like the nostalgia I had for the game. So I think that's why 6 I'm totally down with. I enjoyed the Leon bits where he's at the like
Yeah.
inauguration of the next president or whatever that party that they're having is.
No, Mr. President. No.
Oh yes, yeah. That's right. That's funny.
But yeah, I remember that being really cool, like walking through the White House and,
Yeah.
and killing zombies in the White House. Like
That's
that's fucking dope.
That part was fucking sick.
yeah.
And no lie, it's the only part I cared about because at that point I was just invested in Leon.
Right.
Yeah.
And Leon's a good character. Like all
Yep.
of these characters are very,
Yeah.
I don't want to say well written, but like,
Pretty well defined.
yeah.
Well defined.
You know who they are.
Yep.
Yeah.
The every campaign had a different flavor. You know, Leon, like I said, Resident Evil 4. The Chris one was definitely Resident Evil 5, more like Gears of War almost. And then the
6 was its own thing.
6 with
Wesker Jr.
Wesker Jr. That was like a stealth almost kind of.
But he had like special powers.
Where are they? They're in like,
Fisticuffs kinda.
No, he had
are
special
they in
like strength
Canada?
powers. Yeah.
Yeah. What's that?
They're like in the snow, right?
Yeah, they were
I
in like
don't fucking-
Siberia or like
something like that.
Some made up
Yeah.
Russian territory.
I found him to be an edgelord, and I was kind of just over him pretty much right away.
And then
I
Ada
did-
Ada Wong had the secret campaign after
Of course. But I did like the addition to Ashley.
Ada Wong.
Because you don't get a lot of that where there's
Mm-hmm.
like a side character who's basically this damsel in distress just yelling out your name the entire game.
Yeah.
And then because she got saved and went through all that bullshit, decides to become a part of the Secret Service or whatever.
It was Sherry from Resident Evil 2.
Sherry
Oh,
Birkin.
that's who it
Sherry
is.
Birkin.
That's
Sherry
right.
Birkin.
That's
Sherry
right.
Birkin. Yep. She's a mercenary.
You know what blows my mind is that
There are
Resident
probably so many people screaming into the
I know.
It's not
Like,
fucking Ashley, you idiot!
I'm like, no, it's all right.
Resident Evil Revelations was originally a 3DS game.
I have it, yes.
You didn't know that?
Have you
I've never played the Revelations games, but I know I have one of
That's
them
what-
from PS Plus or something.
They came out with the thumbstick, extra thumbstick attachment, like for that game.
And by all accounts, I've heard it's extremely playable and pretty awesome for the 3DS.
it looks great. I never got past the first level, I think, on it.
Does anyone have strong feelings about the Revelations series?
It's cool. You're on a boat. There's a lot more like almost like Cthulhu style enemies. There's like these like fishmen, like mutants that come on the boat. I only played maybe 5 hours.
Is
of
this
thing.
the one with the weird ginger looking dude?
I think
he's got like really not like
Carrot Top?
handsome ginger.
Watch what you say.
But like no, it's like red.
I'm gonna be
It's
honest
not
with
like,
I never got that far.
I don't really remember too much about it.
yeah,
Okay.
you play as a character, like a
you play as a
character. Like
do you not play as Jill and
you
and
play as
Chris?
like a famous
No, you don't
Resident
play
Evil
as Jill
character.
or Chris.
Okay,
I
maybe
think
I'm thinking of a
pretty
different
sure
one.
it's Claire.
It might be Claire. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
That
at
sounds
least for
right.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's Claire, and you might be right about Ginger Guy, but
Revelations 2 brings back Barry, and he's kind of a ginger guy.
Oh, Barry.
I might be thinking of a totally different one. There's a lot of
I
offside
see.
shit.
I don't remember if you're right because I actually
I might have to look this up too.
That's the only offshoot that I played.
well,
I don't remember a ton of it.
Before we get to any of the other big number ones, there was the Umbrella Chronicles game on the Wii, which had a sequel to Dark Side Chronicles. These were rail shooters. They were for the Wii and then later the
not
PS3. There was Resident Evil: The Mercenaries 3D for the 3DS, which was the Mercenaries like extra game that was included on some of the main series.
Okay.
Resident Evil Operation Racoon City was for the PS3, 360s, and Windows.
Highly maligned.
Yes, not
Very
good.
hated.
I had a buddy who was so angry that game sucked.
Is that the one where
But he
you're
still
playing
tried to
as
like
the guys in black?
No, I think there were different like character classes and stuff, and
Yeah.
you were just
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of doing
yeah,
like this.
But you were
multiplayer.
the enemy, I guess. You're word for Umbrella.
You're trying to steal the G virus or whatever it was at the time.
And then There was Umbrella Corps in 2016 for the PS4 and Windows. This was a multiplayer tactical shooter. It was so bad that they removed Resident Evil as the main title for the game in America and just changed it to Umbrella Corps because no one in Japan liked it, and it was that bad.
Almost
of course,
not even worth localizing.
After that, we are into Resident Evil 7, 2, and 3 remakes.
Yep.
7 is a modern masterpiece.
I agree. And it
Very
is
good.
one of the must-play PSVR titles.
I'm so excited for you to shit in your pants.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back and beat it.
I would say
I'm gonna beat it too.
first half of that game, way stronger than the second half of that game.
Agreed, but if only in the fact that it's survival horror. The second half, though, does function very well because you get used to the shooting, you get used to all this other stuff, and I think the second half still works, but I wasn't like crapping my pants.
Right, yeah.
You're more stressed
Yeah.
than scared.
Wait till that 3D knife comes at you, bro. You'll
But
leave
that's
your
true.
pants.
But
You
also,
can, when you can see, like, when you feel the chainsaw going into your arm.
That chainsaw battle was fucking terrifying for
dude,
me.
I couldn't imagine.
So bad in VR. Oh my fucking God, I
At
hated
least I
it.
know to
That was
get the
bad.
key and get
Not
in the car.
VR.
Yeah.
Get the key, get in the car.
Enemy variety outside of the family members definitely left a lot to be desired in that game.
Once, and especially towards the end game when they're just wandering around
Just
the house,
constantly an onslaught.
I was just kind of like, all right, you're just here to be bullet sponges at this point.
I very much appreciate how they took 7 and they made it so outside of the rest of the story. And it wasn't a Resident Evil story until the very last half of it when it started moving in these other pieces, and then of course
the DLC
a certain
stuff
character
came out.
drops in and all this stuff. But it's almost
great.
a standalone perfect horror title.
Yeah.
And VR for horror is
Yes.
Perfect.
I think dangling that whole promise of no, it's a Resident Evil game through the entire game until the end definitely gave me motivation to, I like the game, I wanted to beat it, but the whole time you're playing, you're like, all right, something's got to there has to be some kind of connection.
Do you ever see Ethan's face?
You see it in promo images,
Yeah, I don't think
but
you
not in the game.
You might see it. I've heard. So I haven't beaten the DLCs or anything, but you play as other characters in the DLC, right?
You play as Chris.
I think you can see
it's called
Ethan's face
it's called
sometimes.
Not a Hero.
Did you guys play that stuff?
Because I
played
remember.
Not a Hero.
I remember reading
I
at one
have it all, but I haven't played it.
At one point, when you're locked in the chair, the daddy character takes a knife. Daddy. I was watching a speed run clearly earlier. Daddy. He takes a knife and he fucks with your face. You can see the cut that he puts in your cheek from another character's perspective later on. So you might see Ethan's face, I think.
He does have a face. It's in promo images, and it's just like
It's a face.
it's sub Nathan Drake, like it's standard white man. Like that's pretty
Yeah.
much. But that's
Yep.
that's
What if there's a twist and it turns out Ethan was a woman the whole time? You just couldn't see the face.
That's weird because in Resident Evil Village,
And he beat the
Mia
game and he
is
has a bikini
pregnant.
on.
Is Mia
turns out
pregnant in
he's
Village?
the 8 foot
I
tall
haven't-
Mia's pregnant in Village.
I haven't. Okay. Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 8 Village, VII. AGE.
Ledge.
No, it's
Ate it.
VILLA.
Well, no, but if you're doing Roman
Right.
numerals VII, that's how it looks like with
It's
Village.
clearly
The L's
Bill.
becomes
it's clearly the
I's.
title because they were trying to think of a way to do what they did with 7.
But okay, you play as Ethan Winters again. They recently released the visual showcase demo. They call it something like that.
Right. Yeah.
You don't have your PS5 open yet.
Even no, I do not. But even if I did, I'm going radio silent as much as possible on this game. So
Why?
I'm not going to play it. I did the same thing
You
with the
wanna be
kitchen.
surprised.
No, with the kitchen demo when Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I didn't do that.
I rented it from a Redbox actually.
The demo for 7 convinced me I had to buy it because I didn't know what it would be like. But,
Okay, yeah.
It's not even there are elements of that demo in the game, but it's nothing like
Right,
it.
and I get that. I'm just I don't want to know what the game's probably going to look like.
just opening a microwave and seeing a dead crow in there, I'm like, okay,
Why?
I see what's coming. But I played the Village demo recently, a week ago, and
good things.
fantastic things. It looks fucking awesome.
Tall ladies, I hear.
Yes, there's a lot of booty. It's a booty shooty in a different way.
Yeah. You'll be shooting on that booty.
Although I am now officially the age where I can't call them MILFs anymore. Like it's just like she's my contemporary queen.
Yeah.
Sylphs.
She's a beautiful tall lady.
A younger woman I'd like to bone.
Cliffs.
She's
Contemporary
definitely
ladies.
older.
Yeah, she's probably like 300. Who knows?
Yeah.
But the game looks fantastic, and they're leaning in hard to like that 7 style where it's moody, it's atmospheric, it's slow, and I didn't shoot a single weapon or even attack with a weapon the entire demo, which I really, really liked. And it's a mansion, but it's got a different feel. It doesn't feel like a gothic, like haunted mansion once you get into the main part. It feels almost like Louisiana riverboat.
Cool.
That's the vibe I was getting from a
Hell
lot of
yeah.
it, with also a lot of like statues and fancy chandeliers and stuff. It was sublime. It was amazing. I didn't feel.
We don't practice Santa.
No, I didn't. But I didn't feel that I need to bone the vampire ladies so much. I just was a.
So much.
Did you see any werewolves?
No, it was. It was a couple of vampire ladies, but it feels like 7. It feels like they're leaning back into what made 7 great, and that's where they're going with the franchise.
like 7
It
times
sounds,
4?
It sounds like they're taking all the things that worked from the previous titles and just kind of being like, this is what you guys like?
Yeah.
Here you fucking go.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
May 7th.
Yeah. The first step
That's
number
near my birthday.
step number 1, you just got to open up that PlayStation.
The day
man.
after, baby. Yeah.
Is it coming out for
If
everything?
I don't have one by then, I'm watching you play it, Tom.
PS5
hope
for Series X,
I don't have
Xbox
a
One, and
PlayStation
Windows.
By that point.
Oh,
I wanna
Okay,
watch
so
it.
everything
watch
but the
me play?
Switch.
Yeah.
And
You got it, dude.
we're all excited for 8.
Yeah.
If you pre-ordered 8, I think it was 2 days ago from when we were recording this, that Resident Evil Reverse the beta is available to people that pre-order the game. It's a 6-player deathmatch shooter.
Come test our software. All you.
And this sounds
Paid money.
This seems kind of like a throwback to older styles, because I don't think it's first-person shooter. And when you die, you spawn as a legacy monster. You can spawn as Nemesis, Tyrant, a mutated frog, or like Resident Evil 7's Jack Baker, the daddy.
Yeah.
I want to
Kool-Aid
be the
man.
chameleon
No,
guys
the
in
mutated
basement in
frogs
Resident
from
Evil 4.
3.
Yeah. So you come back
yeah.
as monsters, but it's a closed beta. It's now live, and there's been mixed responses to it. But I don't know if Reverse is
Sounds
going to be.
fun.
I don't know if it's going to be its own title, or
It
It's
might
kind
be
of a
like
side
their.
thing.
Yeah, it might be like. What
The one that
came out
was-
with.
3. It came.
Yeah, what
3
what
has
was
one,
that
too.
called?
remake came out
Like
with
Resurgence
Resident Evil
or something?
Resistance.
Resistance.
Asymmetrical 4v1, which is a very cool style. Like Friday the 13th did that.
Yes.
And
John Eric Bentley is like the voice of like one of the main guys in that.
we love you, John.
Like, I know this voice.
I've actually played 7 Remake. You're one of my favorite parts. So
Kisses. Yeah.
And I've been watching a lot of Malcolm in the Middle. We saw your episode the other night, and you're awesome as well. Yeah.
No, I don't know if I'm going to play. In fact, I will not play Reverse.
Actively
calling it
not
now.
playing.
very wise.
Have you pre-ordered it?
No, I haven't.
Well, that's why.
Cyberpunk has taught me many things about pre-ordering.
Yeah.
I learned it way earlier. Welcome
It's
to
already
my
for
club.
sale for like $30 new. Like,
Yeah.
I'll wait a year.
Tom, are you sure you want it back?
if it ain't Nintendo, it ain't dropping.
One day.
dropping, like, it will drop.
I mean, I didn't
Probably
play The
September.
Witcher until like it was out for 4 years. So
I still own The Witcher 3. I'm going to play it eventually, just not yet.
Yeah.
Dude, you son of a bitch. It's so good.
It's going up in price right now.
It's so fucking sexy.
Diamond hands, bitch.
it's because GameStop's shit is going
Yeah.
up as well, man.
So I'm glad we have a Resident Evil game on the horizon that it's going to be dropping sooner than we think, man.
I'm so horny for it.
And this one
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to so much.
I like horror games a lot, and in fact, looking through the Steam library and looking at stuff I could play potentially, especially after I've played a ton of survival horror games because I got really into them. One great one I can suggest to people who are fans of Resident Evil is called Dread Out. I don't
Is this
know.
a space one?
No, that's Dead Space.
Also very good.
This one is
and two.
about, it's a little hard to explain. It's definitely made in a different country, and the horror is a lot more based on, it's almost like Fatal Frame.
Ooh. Yeah,
Okay.
This looks terrifying.
Dread Out is super scary. Dread Out almost made me piss my pants.
It's very like, it looks kind of like The Grudge almost.
It is
like mixed
Yeah,
with
it's got that-
Ring
It's
and-
Fatal Frame in third person, so you
Motif.
move into first person to take pictures of these enemies. You're a bunch of kids on a school trip.
All right.
This looks terrifying.
I have it on PC. It is. I honestly could for a while. I could not play
When did it come
alone. 2017 or 2016.
Okay.
I think. Don't quote me on it. This is just a guess.
Yeah.
But I got it on sale for $4. So
Right on, man.
I love the. Do you know the developer's name?
no,
Digital Happiness.
it's cute.
That is.
But if you're looking,
so funny.
I don't know if you guys have any good like survival horror recommendations.
I mean, I think you and I are evil within people. If you
Evil
like
Within-
Shinji Mikami.
Now,
the comic.
I still think you can skip Evil Within 1 and move directly into Evil Within 2 because Evil Within 2 is one of the best survival horror games ever made. It's
pretty underrated.
The first one is kind of janky.
I don't know if it's a survival horror game, but back when I bought all the Resident Evil games for the GameCube, I also really got into Eternal Darkness.
Oh, Sanity's Requiem.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still own
I fucking
it.
love that
I would
game.
call that- I
I
mean-
do too. Yeah, I
It's
still
one
have
of-
all my GameCube games.
Yeah.
You got it.
Well, if they're at your parents' place, get them in your own private area and hold on to those motherfuckers because
'Cause
they
you got
are
some valuable
they're going to the
ones.
moon right now.
to the moon.
To the moon.
And if your parents accidentally just take Resident Evil 3 for the GameCube to a thrift store, it's going to suck for you.
Yeah.
We
We don't want this to happen.
Honestly, that you could sell that for near $100.
Why do you think I'm still holding on to my Resident Evil SD Perry novellas? These things are going to be worth money someday.
They are
Right.
actually.
Are
That's
they?
not even a joke. No, that.
Maybe.
I mean,
Do you know how
They're
many
in good
people-
shape.
I had a buddy borrow one and he fucking trashed it. It was the first one, number one. It was
Of course, the
one about-
Umbrella Conspiracy.
Yeah, the Umbrella Conspiracy.
So let's go around the horn here. I want to know everybody's favorite Resident Evil, and then we'll wrap up here. And starting with you, Dylan, what's your favorite Resident
2
Evil?
remake. I think it's such a simple story in terms of the way it presents it, and I think the scares are always better in third person for some reason because there's always something around your shoulder that you can kind of see. First person, sometimes it's just like I know that there's like something following me. It's like PT. It's just like, all right. But with 3, I'm like, or 2 remake, I was like, no, I can fucking shoot it if I want to. In 7,
Oh man, wait till you put that helmet on. You turn as quick.
You turn as fast as you want
Yeah,
with
dude.
the VR, dude.
Dylan is
that's
turning
the part.
You can do
semi
it
not
fucking
very fast.
360 in real time.
well, that's the part that intrigues me because while I was
You're
playing,
gonna fucking be.
Dude, you're gonna
Oh my
lose your
god,
mind.
7 is so insane in VR.
I'm gonna have Allie watch me tomorrow. She's going to text you. I'm going to
Have her film
make
it.
notes.
Tom, what was your favorite Resident Evil game?
My favorite Resident Evil game, it's 2, the original. Because that's the one. So I played Resident Evil 1 remake for GameCube first, and then I played that one next. And even though it was a downgrade in graphics, the fact that it was as good as it was and it kept me engaged, and there's just something about it that I just fucking love, and there's a reason that they remade it.
There's this great chaos of kind of the world falling down around you, and you've got to kind of just keep yourself focused and like non-stressed. Like you've got to make sure that you can't, like you're just like, okay, I'm gonna go through this burning fucking city to get to a fucking police station.
It felt more like the first one felt more like I'm waiting for something to pop out at me, whereas the second one was like, nah, man, this shit's happening, and you got to get the fuck out of here. And the way that they did that with stories crossing over,
Yeah, it was very well done.
Yeah, it was great, and there are new characters added in, and you know, Ada Wong and Sherry.
Yep.
The story of like her dad being the scientist who basically created the virus, and so like it delved
Well,
into
actually, a
little
couple of
bit.
scientists created it before that guy who took the virus from a flower.
But the like
Damn it.
addition to what you didn't actually know what was going on in the original game.
Yeah.
And they kind of like solidified
Fleshed
that.
it
You're
out.
like, okay.
Just, yeah. And
But that game is amazing. the remake takes that and just puts it into a Resident Evil 4 version of it, and it's just as good.
Yeah.
Just with better graphics, essentially.
Like they stuck the landing on
They
that remake.
still had the puzzle aspect to it as well, which is one of the reasons I like these games is the like find a thing and later on
Let's
in the
play an
game.
organ to get out of the
But
police station.
Like we were saying.
But also, what
like,
police station has a library?
Do I need? Yeah. Do
Well,
I
it was
need
an
to-
old library. Now, if you read the,
Who's
the-
making these buildings with
notes.
specific crests that
I'm
fit into
sorry.
areas?
Right, yes.
Sorry.
No,
I'm
no,
sorry,
no. It's
Dom.
okay. It just like the fact that you have to. Do I leave this item here and have to remember where it is, or put it in a chest that I have to come back to later? Because the entire game is a puzzle, and you have to remember everything, what goes where.
Yep. It's its own Rubik's Cube.
And
Yeah.
I
You
can
think
even
after
miss a
4,
lot.
they kind of like threw that out the window a little bit.
Yeah.
There's still a little bit of it, but it's not
the
like
puzzle
the whole,
aspect?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't return to a lot of locations. The map does exist in 4 so that you can revisit things like the village area where you start out in and stuff like that. But there are certain spaces you can never return to.
yeah.
Yeah.
Brad.
For me personally, what hits the Resident Evil feeling, the notes that I expect from the franchise the most would be the Resident Evil remake, the original one for the GameCube. That one was my first experience, so it is just so heavily ingrained in my head. You explore a mansion, there are puzzles, and those goddamn tank controls. But what is my favorite experience as a video game overall is Resident Evil 7. That's what I want out of a game. I want to be utterly spooked. I want it to be first person. And I've only ever played it in VR. I'm excited to try it non-VR, but it's too immersive and it's too
you've only
scary.
played it in VR?
I've only ever played it in VR.
Same.
That's crazy.
That's why I haven't finished it.
Right.
Because
Oh.
it's I'm excited.
that's why you haven't
It's
finished.
fucking terrifying.
And I haven't
I'm glad I know the secrets.
I haven't.
Yeah.
I have it for the PS5 non-VR as well. So I downloaded it recently. So
Cool.
I'm gonna check that out. And so yeah, 7's my favorite game overall. But I think the original remake kind of defines what Resident Evil is to me. Yes. Tom.
I have to go with Resident Evil 4. I think that hit the fulcrum of the action and the survival horror. I mean, revisiting it now, yes, you see the age of it, some of like the trappings of the 2005 game, but
That
2004.
chapter 5 where you're kind of loaded out at that point, they do make a tonal shift, but they add some stuff in there that really kind of changes the game, like
Yep.
the regenerator creature and
Yeah, I think it actually had quick time events that I actually enjoyed.
I used to have a Jaeger action figure. Where he has his big blade arm.
Yeah,
Where is that? And I gotta stop my mom from sewing my.
it's
own
at Dom's
action
parents'
figures.
house.
This is a PSA.
my
If
garage.
you have stuff back at home with your parents, grab it now. I have lost a few items that I won't get back. Next time you're home, grab it, bring it back.
Dude,
I'm
next
gonna
time
bring
I
my
go,
Atari 2600.
here's what's
Do
gonna
it.
happen.
Boom.
I'm gonna go back home. I'm gonna grab my Nintendo 64. I'm gonna bring it back here.
No,
We're
you can
all
keep-
gonna
no, no,
play
no.
Snowboard
You can
Kids until
leave the
fucking
N64, it's fine.
sun
No,
comes
Dom and
up.
I will play it.
And me and Tom will be playing the 3DO like civilized men.
Yes.
Yeah.
On top of the snowboard kids, there was a
got it.
mountain, and then there was a battle.
Well, gents, this has been.
Sorry to cut you off. Sorry.
You're a fucking asshole.
The thing I love about this franchise is what
Yeah.
we all just said. We're all correct.
I mean, Mila Jovovich.
Yeah, all these games are pretty great.
Yes, Paul
Even
W.S.
the bad
Anderson.
ones
Even the
have a
bad ones are
merit.
like very
Artistic.
fun.
I've had
Yeah.
a vision for a Raw Dogs episode.
Just now it came to you.
This is regular Dogcast.
No, but
You
for
can't
but for
say
raw,
it here.
for Raw Dogs,
On
it's
Raw
going to
Dogs.
be a Lord Bukaki specifically about Albert Wesker. Nothing outside of his life and times.
No, that's great.
The life and times
That's
of
so
Albert
good.
to get a
Wesker.
tattoo of Albert Wesker, and
This-
we all have to write a
Josh,
novel.
stop it.
That might be the only podcast ever strictly about
Albert Wesker.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Wear sunglasses the whole
The
time.
whole, we'll all wear sunglasses
Take that
the
in.
whole episode.
Oh my god.
I like in Resident Evil 1, you
We'll
see a
read
picture
fanfic.
of like all the doctors, and there's one guy with sunglasses in the
It's
corner.
Albert Wesker. Why is he always wearing those? Is it because his eyes are glowing? Because
Is it
he's
a-
infected with the virus? Who knows? Maybe he just likes wearing sunglasses at night.
Sex appeal.
There you go.
He does have his hair slicked back.
Tom, take us out.
All right.
It was the 90s.
Well, guys, this really has been fun talking to you.
Yeah.
And thank you again, Ryan. Thanks for the beer. Thanks for the topic. We hope you enjoyed it.
This one was fun.
I like talking shit.
Yeah, me too.
Shooting the shit about games we all love. And there is a lot of love for Resident Evil here at the Dogcast. If you want to get a hold of us and share your love for Resident Evil, or maybe your hate, it's fine. You want to throw shade? We like that too. Get a hold of us at hairofthedogcast@gmail.com. Like I said before, we can be reached on Twitter at HotDogcast.
Yeah, it's at Hot Dogcast. You're right.
Okay, thanks. Okay. There's a Patreon if you want to do that. Patreon.com/hairofthedogcast, right,
You
Dylan?
mentioned it earlier, yeah.
Good.
If you honestly, if you keep sending us beer, it's not even going to be a
You
problem.
can pay us in beer, it's fine.
Yeah, we'll
Skip the
recognize
Patreon, send us beer. That's okay
Right.
too.
Honestly,
Patreon.
truly, yeah.
Facebook and Instagram, we're Hair of the Dogcast. Write reviews if you can. Leave us
Yep.
a positive review if you feel like it. Tell your friends. We appreciate you've listened this far, and we love you.
Yep. Brad?
I would
Dylan?
never give you the T virus.
No, none.
Maybe the G.
But
Maybe
no.
through my spit, if I spit in your mouth.
Can you get zombified through spit?
Do you have to get a nasal
I
swab?
think it has to be a
We're gonna
bite.
have to save this
I
for
think
the
it's
lore.
some sort of DNA transfer of any kind.
No, I think it's a necrotizing.
bite.
I think it's a necrotizing disease that first attacks the skin and then works its way through the central nervous
They're
system.
still
to the
figuring it
brain.
out.
Yeah.
They're working on a vaccine.
No,
right
but
now.
that's what would make the most sense because
Speaking of
the organs-
necrotizing-
the organs don't fail.
It's a
Anyways,
it's a scratch
okay.
or a bite. I know that.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Dom. Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
Once again,
Thank you for
always
having
great
me.
to have you on. And
Where can they find you personally?
What's the internet?
the internet. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Same.
Okay.
The moon.
I draw the thumbnails for the main Hair of the Dogcast. I sometimes do artwork for Raw Dogs. Every once in a while, I add my little bit to it.
Sometimes
if
you
you
do,
want to
Josh.
hire me for commissions, I'm actually open to that. So
Demons
go for it.
Draw Dylan.
Demons Draw Instagram?
Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah. If you want to look at it, it's demons_draws_
Yep.
Dylan.
I know sometimes it's hard to see some of the shit that Dylan makes. It's phenomenal shit, by the way. So yeah, check out our Instagram. We're on Hair of the Dogcast is on Instagram or our Libsyn page. I know if you're listening to this on like Apple Podcast or I think Stitcher, they don't really.
I
send
think
the
I
art.
think a lot about
Every
these-
episode has a special, like a
Yes.
unique piece of art for it.
Yeah.
So
And-
check it out. It's
And
fun.
Mila, if you're listening, I'm sorry for all those messages. Just respond, please. I'd like to talk to you about a few things. Thank you.
I bet Paul has a really big.
Why'd you do Monster Hunter?
Really big filmography, right?
Yeah.
Resident Evil 1 through 7. They're making a new movie right now. A reboot.
Yeah.
Oh Christ.
A reboot? It's not like.
It's not a sequel.
Can we go out on a
well,
happy
it
note?
can't be because the last one was called The Final Chapter.
Yeah, oh, I've heard that before.
I hope it's directed by Paul
Gonna be on
Thomas Anderson.
No, it's not. It's going to be in Netflix.
We'll
Okay.
see
I
you
hope
all
so.
next time.
Yes, from all of us here at the
Thanks for
Dogcast.
listening.
Love you.
Jill Sandwich.
What can we say? What's a good like Resident Evil voice thing that we could say to end the podcast? Does anybody know?
You're a master of Jill Sandwich.
Hold on.
Resident
dead. Eat ass.
Eat zombie. Or, wait. It's just.
Zombie.
No, that's horrible. Okay, bye.
Booty shooting.
Zombie.
Bunghole. 5. All right, see you guys. Bye.